the reality in virtual reality, those split-second decisions, the sheer raw ability. Don't let the simulation detract from the racing. This is racing. This is FDSR. Hello everybody, welcome back to Thursday night at Final Drive Sim Racing. And it's Endurance Week this week, and we are in the beautiful Belgian hills of Spa-Francorchamps. That is where we are today. And a track I absolutely adore and know very, very well. Not that I'm very quick around there, but I do know it well. So endurance night, so we're going to have a 15-minute qualifying session and an 80-minute race. As always, variable weather conditions. We're not expecting it to rain, but it is late in the day, and we are expecting a very cold track today. Your commentary team is slightly different today, although I have not updated the graphic just for the sake of one day. But Luke Dugdale unfortunately will not be joining us this evening due to other commitments, but I am delighted to say I am joined by Mr. Aaron Markham. How are we, Aaron?
Yeah, I'm good. Looking forward to another exciting night of FDSR.
Yeah, absolutely, me too. It's, cracking track in there. You can see just on the calendar there, just to confirm, it's round 3 and we are at Spa. Just a short trip over to Holland for next week's race, but the drivers will all be heading in for their driver briefing in a minute. So we experienced this on Tuesday. I do apologise this week, folks, due to my workload. I've not had a chance to do a highlight show of Tuesday's racing. Which is a bit of a shame. But myself and Aaron did manage to do some races around here. We had Morris with a win. He likes Spa. He had a win in the sprint race before, didn't he? He had a win and Foster had a win, and the table's hotting up nicely. But Aaron, take us through Tuesday night from your point of view. You know, how did you find the conditions, the track, the car? Yeah, tell us all you can tell us.
Well, you very kindly lent me a Coach Dave setup, but it wasn't quite working. I kept on spinning out, and I really struggled to get to grips actually with the track that I'm really familiar with. It actually felt so alien, so I kind of had to default back to the aggressive setup, but I was ridiculously slow, and then kind of just existed at the back for the best part of 20 minutes. And then in the second race, you very kindly, again, lent me your slightly amended Coach Dave setup. And I was a lot more happier and a lot more comfortable until I did my typical Aaron Markham spin at the bottom of Rivage, the corner that has no name. And that was all she wrote, really. But I still enjoyed it. The tyre temperatures caught me out a little bit as well. I know you mentioned it being cold, and I shot them right up with the PSIs, and I still got caught out. I had cold tyres towards the end of my stint, so definitely going to be something that's a factor, because it totally changed the way the car drove, and I couldn't believe how much, basically, a couple of numbers, decimal places in the PSI actually made such a huge difference in how the car drove. I was way off.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely a factor. Unfortunately, you've got to be so precise, and what 0.1, 0.2 euro there can be the difference between you driving a car and a boat. So it is definitely a factor. So there we go. That is the sprint table there. Kevin DeHaan currently top with Ash Humphreys second, Adam Foster third, Lloyd Reed with a bit of a disastrous race after a great opening 2 rounds, but it still finds himself in 4th. I'm there in 6th, as you can see, and Aaron in 8th. About 40 points between us at the moment, so work for you to do, my friend. But
pull my finger out.
yeah, you're slacking, mate. You're slacking. But to be fair, that's not a lot of points in this league, because there's 65 points for a win. So a couple of good weeks, and all of a sudden that closes. But we're having great fun racing against these guys, and it is a great laugh. But anyway, back to the task at hand, and this is the Drivers' Championship so far. Then, after what is effectively 3 rounds, 1 endurance race and 2 sprint races. Kingston top, 17 points ahead of Adam Scott. Evans, Welsh newcomer, up in 3rd after a great victory in race 2 last week, holding off Adam Foster to take the victory. So great showing from him. He did really well. I just realised this is a slightly older version where people's cars haven't gone on and updated, so I do apologise to those drivers. I have done it. It's just this is an older screenshot. So we got Lloyd Reed then just outside the top three. Bart Tonks, Wes Bakehouse, pretty close between those guys. Adam Foster up to 7th after a disastrous first couple of rounds. He had a decent run in last week. Scott Balseeley 8th, Morris in 9th. He ran really well here on Tuesday, so we're expecting good things from him. And Matt Heaton rounding out the top 10 there, just ahead of Damo Humphreys. So Ash Humphreys is right at the bottom there. A disastrous opening race and then completely missed last week. So, but don't forget, guys, that drop scores do play a part. So they will kick in at some point. I think the driver's briefing is just about finishing because you can hear some cars going out in the background there. This is the Teams Championship, so a new team entry, South Coast, which is Adam Foster and Dan Humphreys, which is a Honda McLaren combination. Again, that is the old version of the Teams thing. For some reason, it's defaulted to the wrong one. Let me just see if I can find the up-to-date one. There we go. 2 clicks of a button and there it is. Yeah, they are leading by 1 point from Baltec, with Rad coming home at the moment in 3rd. And the power rankings, that shows you all the wins, poles, drivers of the race. You get 2 points for a pole, 1 point for everything else. Fastest laps, all that kind of stuff, as you can see there. So Kingston, no surprise after his dominance in the opening 2 rounds, is top of that. With Scott 2nd and Foster in 3rd. And the final one is positions lost and gained. Kingston, after a storming drive through the field of starting at the back of last week's 2nd race, has now gained 17 positions so far this season. Dan Stevens 15, awesome effort from Dan. Bart Tonks on 12 along with Scott, and Bakehouse on 10. Adam Foster at the other end of the scale has lost 20 positions this season, and that has been the big difference for his season. Is he's been caught up in a few little tussles and accidents here and there, isn't he? Which is why that has happened. He started high up the grid and ended up finishing quite low down because of accidents and such.
Yeah, it's just not quite clicked. And speaking to him a little bit last night after we'd finished, and I think even during as well, he just said, a couple of things just haven't quite gone his way, have they, really? And there's no hiding from it. If we see it every week, and whether it's a daft little incident like he had with Lloyd at the Glen, or a daft drive through like we've seen last season at Barcelona. These things add up, and when you're looking at 65 points for a win, it suddenly can feel like a huge mountain that you have to climb. So I think he's hopeful for a much better race evening. The Honda seems to be really good. It seems to be really quick around here, and he definitely seems to be someone with a lot of confidence anyway, after what we were talking about on that Tuesday night. So I think we'll see a very good bounce back. He's at the top of the leaderboard already in practice, with a nice little healthy gap over Michael. Obviously, practice can be a little bit misleading. We don't know what type of fuel people are running, what type of setups people are running, but yeah, I'm confident that we'll see a very strong Adam Foster, and someone who definitely going to learn from the mistake that I think he made in season 2 when we raced here last. It was sprint, wasn't it? It wasn't endurance, but I remember a little mistake at the top of Radion, and I'm pretty sure he will have rectified that. He didn't seem to make any mistakes at all on Tuesday night, and touch wood, he has a good event and starts making his way back towards the front, which we know he belongs up there with the best of the best.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just watching the drivers go around now, getting the last bit of practice in. There's 6.5 minutes left, and as you'll see, we've got 4 driver cams this week, which I'm pleased to say we've managed to get set up. So we'll have bird's eye view, if you like. Well, not a bird's eye view, an onboard view. I don't know why I said bird's eye view. It makes no sense at all. But we will have a driver's view.
Invasive thoughts there.
Yeah, something like that. So we've got Foster, we've got Mooney, we've got Millers, and we've got Morris. So we should have a good spread throughout the field of different drivers from their perspective through the race as and when we need it. Hopefully we'll have lots of battles like we did last week, which was absolutely hectic at times, wasn't it? But it was great to see all those battles going on, and it was great to have those extra camera shots just so we could keep an eye on two battles at the same time and that type of thing. So hopefully that'll come into play this evening. I've done one driver at a time rather than two at a time like last week. We had a little bit of not a complaint as such, but a suggestion that perhaps the boxes were a little bit too big and that they were taking up a little bit too much space. And covering up some of the live action. So I've taken that into account. As you can see, I've put it down in the bottom corner, kind of like they do in F1, next to the positions, and opened up a lot more space, one driver at a time. So there won't be too much going on stream distracting us from the main show. So let's get to it then. So as Aaron said, Adam Foster is currently top of the charts with an 18 flat. The boys were getting into the 17s in the race on Tuesday, so very much expecting pole times to be... I mean, the difficulty is, because the track is so cold, isn't it, Aaron? They might not necessarily get as quick a lap in quali as they will in the race, because in the race obviously they've got a lot more time to bring the tyres up to temperature and find the rhythm, whereas quali, you know, around here 15 minutes is not really a long time because it's such a long lap, isn't it? So I'm wondering whether, you know, that might be about the best time we see in quali, and maybe in the race we'll see an even faster time.
Yeah, and I suppose the other factor as well to consider is the track is a lot more rubbered in regardless of how hot it is when it comes to the race. And I think there's been a few times, I know for myself personally, and this is just down to lack of practice, but I tend to go quicker in the race than what I do in qualifying, purely because of how green the track is in qualifying compared to the race. And for those who don't know what that means, it just basically, green is the term of a brand new track, and when it's rubbered in it's a bit more, you know, grippy. It's just a way of referring to how fresh a track is, and obviously after you've done qualifying and there's been plenty of cars racing on it in the race, it can sometimes be a lot more quicker and a lot easier to drive. And even with the cooler conditions, I'm agreeing with you, Mike. I think the qualifying times will not be spectacular, but the race times will probably be quicker.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, I mean, you know, hot rubber sticks to rubber, doesn't it? And you can see these black lines and areas on the track. You know, if anybody is new to sim racing, welcome. But it's, you know, this simulates very much what you'd see in real life. So off the line you'll have these marbles, you can see them there, all these little black collections of rubber. So that is where the tyres break up and they discard the rubber off to the side of the track. You can see them perfectly there. And these black lines in the middle of the track is where the rubber is stuck to the concrete or the tarmac, and that is the grippiest line, because hot rubber sticks, as I said, to hot rubber. So that is why you'll find more grip, and what Aaron is alluding to is the fact that those black lines very early in the session won't be there, and they'll become darker and more grippier as the session goes on. So as we're coming towards the end of a 1 hour practice and you've had 24 cars battering around you, there's plenty of black stuff down on the grey stuff, so it is plenty of grip out there. So that'll only ramp up, as Aaron said, through qualifying and then through the race as well. But track temperature, of course, plays a part as well. And we were only getting track temps of around about 17, 18 degrees. It's shown as 18 degrees out there at the moment, which is pretty cold. I mean, you know, just to give you an idea, most of the time if you're watching, you know, Formula 1 or GT racing, I mean, the track temperatures would be sort of mid 30 degrees, Aaron, would you say, on you know, average sort of track temp?
Yeah, I suppose it depends on where they are and what time of year.
No, of course, but you tend to hear, you know, sort of 28, 29, 30 degrees as a sort of a benchmark, you know. So particularly cold out there compared to, you know, what normal racing conditions you'd expect to see. But, you know, that makes it more interesting for us. You know, we had trouble getting our tyre pressures right, because of course the hotter the track, the hotter your tyres, the more your pressures increase from a starting cold pressure. So if you start at 25 and you've got a very hot track, your temperature, your pressures will go up to, let's say, 28. Whereas, if you get it wrong and you start too high, your tyres blister and overheat and everything else. It's quite an art, really, isn't it, Aaron? It's not an easy thing to do.
No, it's basically trial and error, isn't it? And unless you are simulating the exact conditions of what's being run on the Thursday, there's no way of really telling how the car's going to perform and how it's going to react. I suppose the beauty with an endurance race is that you have a pit stop to put things right if things haven't quite worked in the first stint. Whereas us two in the sprint, we have one race of not really knowing what's going to happen, and then the second race of trying something else and hoping it works. But
of course, the biggest issue with the second race is it's usually gotten colder by then.
Yeah, exactly.
Or hotter, depending on the situation.
You're second guessing yourself all the time is what I'm trying to say, I guess. Whereas in an endurance, it's not going to drastically change unless you are really going from one extreme to the other, I suppose.
No, I mean, it will get colder. It's heading into evening, so the track temperature will probably drop by 2 or 3 degrees, but that is enough, to make your sort of ideal tyre pressures at the start of the race will be very different. So I guess the question is, do you get it right for the start, adjust it in the pit stop, or do you get it wrong at the start so it comes to you as the race goes on? There are lots of different tactics and stuff, but that's enough talk about tyres, because they're just black things that go on the wheels and help the car not crash into a wall. That's all we need to know about tyres. But quali is about to start, and I cannot wait for this. I'm really excited to see. So it might not look close, folks. When you see those gaps there, was it 1.6, 1.7 seconds between the top 16 there, just as an example. But you've got to remember, Spa-Francorchamps is such a long track that's actually a lot closer than what you may think. So to have a 2-second spread really over basically the entire field, near enough, apart from a couple of the back runners, bodes really well, doesn't it, for the race, I think?
Yeah, I think that's just a huge credit to the step up that everybody's sort of came along with this season. Just to be that close to the front, it's so impressive and something that all the guys should be proud of. And just exactly like you say, it's such a huge track. It's definitely the longest one that is ran on ACC. So, we look, it's almost like a stark opposite to Watkins Glen, in the sense that was quite short and the gaps were really close together. It just shows that I guess what I'm trying to say is how much distance of a track can really affect the gap of cars between each other. But yeah, it's quite hard to put into words how close that really is on a track that's so long. These guys are doing over 2 minutes a lap. When you look at Watkins Glen, I think it was a mid 1 minute something. So it's almost like Watkins Glen and a half in comparison, and to be only a second off is pretty big. Because the other thing to think about as well is, on a track like this where there's so many different elements of where cars can be strong and cars can be weak, that 1 second over one lap could actually equal itself out. It could be that a car is more balanced in the corners and the guy that is a second away is quicker on the straights, and that tow keeps him in contention. So the gaps can sometimes be a bit misleading, especially at a place like Spa, where there's so much variety in how the track presents itself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just going to be really, really interesting to see.
Yeah.
Who can. The thing is, it's so easy to lose time around here. You don't. People might think, with it being such a long track, if you make a mistake, you've got more time to get it back. But I find if you're not on it, you just lose more and more and more time at a long track like this. Whereas at a shorter track, you've immediately got the next lap to have another go. You just kind of see what I'm trying to say with your mentality. It's a lot more difficult around a place like this to keep going and going and going, because it's such a long track. So you mess up the first corner, and that's affected your mentality all the way around.
Yeah, and I think as well, if you make a mistake, it's more the fact that is if you make a mistake at a short track, the time that you lose because the lap is short isn't as heavy on a track that's long, because the effect rumbles on for longer in a sense due to the extra distance. So a mistake that might only lose you the same amount of time at a shorter track sticks with you, exactly like you said. It sticks with you for longer because you know you haven't quite got a fresh chance at it. So
well,
it definitely works like that.
Mooney's just about to go through Eau Rouge. He's done turn 1 in Eau Rouge, so take us through the rest of the lap, Aaron, as we jump on board with the Honda.
We may as well. So nice to see plenty of fans on the Kennel Straight here on the left. Nice for a GT turnout. He's going to approach Les Combes now, and he brakes right in line with the curbs starting there on the left hand side. Wonderfully bit the Honda there. So nice in being able to attack the curbs. I felt a little bit ropey on the curbs, so definitely not leaving anything on the table. We wind our way down Rivage now. We start going back downhill after going up Eau Rouge and Radillon. Into corner with no name. This is where I spun out. Very easy to lose it on the AstroTurf, but very easy to be too conservative, and Michael seems to have done a good job there. In one of my favourite corners ever, Pouon. Seems to have a really nice tight line there. Nothing fancy, but nice and neat and tidy. We're still winding our way back down the hill as we make our way into La Fagna, the first La Fagna and the second La Fagna, making up a chicane. Michael again, a little bit of oversteer there, but nothing too worried about. Down in the second gear for Stavelot as we build up the revs now. So important, to get this kink. And he's not quite got it right. It's so important to nail that, because you carry any time you lose all the way down Blanchemont as we build up towards the bus stop. You can just see here, guys, all of this is flat, so any mistake, it really does punish you, and on the flip side, if you nail it, you carry it all the way through. But this is it. You could be driving for 2 minutes and you could totally bottle the bus stop, but Michael doesn't, and he's going to drive towards the line. Scott Balsillie there with a 2:19.2. What's it going to be for Michael? It's a 2:18.9. That's a good lap.
It is. And fastest lap has been beaten again by Wes Bakehouse, and that lap actually didn't count from Mooney because he did breach that track limits when we saw him go a little bit wide. So Bakehouse currently top then. Sorry, the race director's having a bit of trouble, the race director being me. Pushing buttons and all over the place here. Anyway, yeah, so Bakehouse currently top then with an 18.5, which Mooney wouldn't have been far off if that lap had counted. Andrew Wellborn back this week, and he is currently in second. Barnard has got his Rick and Morty livery up and running. There it is, nice and green. We like a bit of Rick and Morty, and he's currently in third. A lot of these drivers yet to set a time. Looks like Foster hasn't. No, Foster's breached track limits. He's actually done a 17.4, Foster, but it hasn't counted yet because he's breached track limits. So yeah, I think a lot of these drivers are going to swap around. The fastest laps are yet to come for a lot of these guys. So let's just run through them. Josh Evans with a 19 flat for his first attempt. Race winner, of course, last time out at Watkins Glen. And hoping the Welshman can do well today. 2 Welshmen up there today. Sorry, three Welshmen up there today. So there's Welshmen everywhere. We love it. Morris then in 5th at the moment. Balsillie in 6th. The Hondas are looking strong, as Aaron said earlier. Humphreys in 7th. Dehaan just coming up the pits. Tickner.
Adam's done it. 2:17.4. So
He has done it. It is a 2:17.4, and he's pretty much parked it and gone straight to the pits. I think he's thought, ain't nobody getting anywhere near that today. And his work is done. Maybe. So Alex McGee, new driver today in the Jag. There's a brave man if ever I saw one. absolutely no one picks the Jag, but Alex McGee has. So fair play to him. So Weaver's then in the Lego Lambo. He's in 16th at the moment. Simpson there in 17th. No, he's gone down. Somebody else has shot up somewhere. Artis, he's currently in 19th. No, now he's in 20th. Drivers jumping around all over the place here. I can't keep up. But we have got Andrew Tasker's back. He hasn't been with us for a little while, but he has done some races with us in the past. He's back, and he is currently in 27th, meaning we have 27 drivers, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm sure it's going to blow my GPU to bits, but we'll try our best. Between that and running all these different streams and showing you the stream and other people's cameras on my thing and everything else, it's going to be a right mess here. I'm sure there'll be steam coming up from behind my television before long. But all in the name of sim racing. It's all worth it. Here we are. So Foster has gone back out actually, so he thinks he's got more time on the table, which is hard to believe, but he's currently half a second ahead of Mooney, who is also into the 17th, and Alex Kingston has managed to pop that Merc up into third. Not the strongest track for the Merc, but he's still very, very competitive, and it's just about picking up as many points as you can, even when you're not that competitive in terms of the car, isn't it, as in, you know, when you're in the championship battle.
Yeah, consistency is key. We saw that in the touring car championship last season. You know, someone who didn't win a race managed to bag second place and missed out on the championship by a handful of points. So it just goes to show you don't have to be the fastest guy every week to be up there. As long as you are finishing as best you can, and more importantly, finishing, you're giving yourself half a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember my first season with TCSRL. I think I finished second in the championship, and I only won one race all season. So, which was the Hungaroring, and what a moment that was in the career of Mr. Michael Bullen. Absolutely fantastic. So we're just watching Luke Barnard. So this now his third race. He missed the opening race as he hadn't yet received his PC. Managed to make last week's racing. Crashed out in race 1. Had a bit of a disaster. Did pretty well in race 2. I think he finished 5th in the end. In his first sort of full opportunity, and now he is hoping, I'm sure, for a much smoother run-in. He's had an extra week to get to grips with the intricacies of the PC software and everything else, so fingers crossed for him. He'll have a much better outing today. So Foster's up on his time at the moment, looking like he is going to improve. That's why you can see him flashing in that pinky purple colour on screen, folks. It just means he's currently on a personal best. That is also the fastest lap of qualifying so far, so he is improving on his time. If you see people in red, it means they're in the pits, and white usually means they've stopped at the side of the track or are driving slowly. And yellow means a crash of some sort. All sorts of different colours for you to enjoy. But I have managed to find now that they've updated the software, and you can blend again now. So as you can see, I've managed to blend the graphics so they're not so blocky and sort of potent on the screen, which I don't know if you agree, Aaron, but I think it looks a bit better.
Yeah, it just looks a little bit more modern, doesn't it?
Yeah, a bit more pro.
You're not cutting off like a fifth of the screen with graphics.
Yeah, exactly. I never liked, when you couldn't do that, because you used to be able to do it on OBS, and then when Streamlabs came out as the replacement for it, they took off that blending option, which was a bit annoying, but it's back. Yay! Because it's one of my favourite things, because you can still clearly see everything, but it just, anyway, we're getting into the intricacies of graphics by here, but I just think it looks a lot better like this, where you can you can still see everything, but it's not in your face. So anyway, Rich Arnold currently in 6th position. He's in the 18.6. The Honda is strong around here, but still, kudos to Rich. That is an absolutely fantastic time. You compare that to his teammate. He's a second faster than his teammate. I mean, and that's the the nearest benchmark any racing driver has when you're in a team, isn't it? As your teammate, and his teammates are a second off him. So yeah, top size down to 7th now. Somebody else has improved, but 7th place for Rich. Good showing so far.
Yeah, 100%. I know Alan said in general he was struggling a little bit, but I think he'd have maybe he's expected to be a little bit closer to Rich. I think Rich has probably improved a little bit since last season. He started to come good at Brands, didn't he? I remember that pole. I think maybe he's. I think back to Bathurst as well. Rich out-qualified Alan, but Alan just kept the car on the track and made up a bunch of places. So, one lap pace is important, but I suppose kind of shows that it doesn't really matter sometimes. Sometimes you just got to keep on plodding on and see what happens in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Foster has improved on his time and is improving again. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention it in case anybody had missed. But he's also up again. So he's on the verge of being in the 16s, which is just disgusting, quite frankly. But what was you going to say, my friend? Sorry.
I was just going to say we've got a few YouTube comments. I've been chatting away to Matty, who has kindly joined us in the comms box. Good evening. Just, I suppose I'll save what we were talking about for just a little bit after this. But Mr. Josh Evans's father is back in stream, and I think he must be Thomas Denman's father as well, because Craig has said that Thomas and Josh are from the same house and are sat right next to each other. So that makes for a funky sim racing, especially if something goes wrong. And we've had Dan Stevens as well just say, I'm just going to roll around at the back tonight. Well, Dan, I've got plenty of experience in that, so if you want to ask me some questions, just fire away. I'll tell you all about it.
I just want to know what internet they're on if they're running two sims right next to each other. I mean, Jesus Lord. I mean, mine barely can do what we're doing here, so must be getting an absolute battering. Anyway, yeah. How's it going, Matt?
Yeah, not too bad. I thought I'd nip in. I haven't got time for another quali lap, and I may not be about after the race to share my disappointment in how badly this race is going to go.
Just not your track, or just lack of time to practice this week, or any particular reason?
No, I've had a bit of practice. It's a new track for me, but I've had time to practice and get to grips with the general idea of the track. But yeah, I've certainly not got it down to a T. Massively struggling. I mean, you look at I generally tend to sort of battle with Rich, Alan. And they're miles ahead of me, so yeah, I'm gonna be at the back with Dan, I think.
Yeah, don't beat yourself up, mate. It's a track I know superbly well. I've even driven it in real life twice, and I was beyond dead last the other day. So on Tuesday, yeah, absolutely no pace. So don't beat yourself up too much, but. Do you sort of have a mentality of heading into races with anything particular in mind, or is it just a case of comparing yourself against that group of drivers you're usually sort of competing with?
Yeah, I mean, I tend to go into races a bit more confident than I am feeling tonight, and I do tend to look at the other drivers that I'm generally around pace-wise to see where they're at and where I am. So yeah, just sort of battling in and amongst them. And trying to get top 10s is where I'm at, but I think tonight it's an endurance race, so trying to keep it consistent, keep it clean, and it's a horrible pit lane here. So if I can keep it clean and keep it out of the wall, then hopefully I'll benefit from other people potentially having to pit.
And track limits. I mean, on Tuesday we had a few having track limits, pings as a bit of an issue. Any of that concern for yourself, or have you managed to keep it inside the white lines?
I mean, when I first started, Eau Rouge is a pain massively trying to keep it within the track limits. Other than Eau Rouge, that there is tricky, but I'm willing to, if needed, lift if I need to, just to make sure I keep it clean and don't need to come into the pits any more than I'd normally do. So.
Awesome. Well, we do wish you good luck. The qualifying
very much.
session has just ended, and fingers crossed you'll have a good one, mate.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have a good stream, boys, and I'll leave you with Rich.
Thank you very much.
Thank you kindly.
Oh, what an intro.
We're even doing
I suppose it's an outro as well, isn't it?
this is a new feature, guys, where drivers introduce drivers before they one comes in and one goes out.
I don't think I could pull that off if I tried. It was wonderful.
Good quality there for you, Rich. You seemed really comfortable.
Yeah, I've had a fair bit of practice around here, and I'll tell you what, on ACC, practice is just, it's the golden ticket, it really is, and I've managed to get some laps in, and I like Spa, and the Honda's really good around here, so it's a bit of a perfect storm. Kind of where I expected, car's really good, there are some very quick people. I'm surprised at how quick Adam is for a start, and I think Alan was just telling me, he's like, he's done a 19.6 and he was like, that's the quickest he's ever gone around here, and he's like, how am I 17th?
Yeah.
The standard around here, I mean, the boys are all quick, it's all really quick, it's going to be a really, really interesting races.
Yeah, well, we were saying before, anyway, I don't know if you guys agree, but it's one of those tracks in it where it's so long that we were saying, if you just make that one little mistake in turn one or, through Eau Rouge, it affects the whole lap, doesn't it? And your mentality, and it's not like where you think, oh, do you know what, 30 seconds, I'm going to be starting another lap because it's such a long lap.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. Especially when you're doing qualifying, a hot shot lap like that, you can lose it in the first corner, and then the whole lap's gone, and you're sitting there for over 2 minutes getting round to have another go. And it's also, like you say, it's so hard to nail every section, every corner 100%, so you very, very rarely get a completely clean and good lap. So yeah, it's a case of taking the best bits of a lap and kind of stitching it all together and hoping for the best, really. But it's why it suits endurance. Endurance is going to be better around here. It gives you a bit of cushioning for making little mistakes like that, and essentially it's the long race that's the key.
Yeah, I mean, Tuesday we saw stop and goes for speeding in the pit lane. We saw track limits. I mean, this isn't the place for that, is it? Because the pit lane here is longer than most racetracks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think someone worked it out. I think it's over a minute just to get to your pit box. So, drive-throughs through track limits here is going to be a thing. It wouldn't surprise me if someone loses their race through drive-through. Track limits are pretty harsh here, and there's obviously with Eau Rouge, even the last corner in the chicane at the bus stop, you can get it wrong through there, and if you don't time it right, you can get drive-throughs add up. Track limits add up, so drive-throughs is going to be a real thing. Watch out for that, because I think that could ruin someone's race tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you aiming for anything in particular?
I'm hoping to be up there. I'm top 10 would be lovely. Top 5 would be realistically ideal. Anything higher than that, I think I'll be lucky. So somewhere in between 5 and 10, I think, is where I'm aiming for. But we shall see. My racing this season so far hasn't been the best, so we'll see at the end.
We bid you luck. We'll let you get on with your warm-up lap, and we'll speak to you in 80 minutes' time.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good one. See you in a bit.
Yeah, you too. Do we have any other drivers with us, Aaron?
You do.
We do.
Take it away, mate.
We do.
Sorry, I can't see that screen.
It's all right. Adma, I basically hyped you up for the entirety of the beginning of qualifying, and you lived up to the hype. So I'm really happy that you're on pole. I said it's gonna be like a Rocky style comeback. So I mean, the Honda, like Rich said, really good round Spa. You seem really good round Spa, and you're carrying on the form from Tuesday night. I just said in general that I hope that everything goes okay for you, because we need you back at the top. So
yeah,
stick at it.
Really proud of, really happy I got that pole position, but I got a faster lap when I was racing you guys on Tuesday. I got a 16, didn't I, when I was racing you guys? So I'm a little bit disappointed I didn't get another 16. But yeah, it's a good track, good car. I feel good around here. I feel really confident. It's just 80 minutes, Eau Rouge. Hopefully it just sticks every time.
Yeah, I did say you'll probably get war flashbacks of last of 2 seasons ago when you had that little moment at Eau
Yeah,
Rouge.
binned it on the last
Please,
lap.
please, none of that.
No,
So,
hopefully not.
We were saying
but
though,
yeah.
Ad, because it's a cold track, is it easier sometimes to get a faster lap in the race when you've got more time to get the temperature into the car and everything else, or?
Yeah, there's a certain point where it gets to the temperature where it gets too cold. But tonight we are running 15-degree track temperature, so it's kind of ideal, perfect racing conditions. It's going to give you the most grip, and it does normally take 2 laps to bring the tyres up, but yeah, you can get so much grip when it's cold.
Yeah. Well, good luck, mate, and hope it's nice and clean for you, and we'll speak to you in 8 minutes.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Nice one. There we go. Adam and Rich, our usual duo of interviewees before the race. Nice to speak to Matt as well for a little bit of a change of scene. We haven't spoken to Matt for a while, have we? So, yeah, it's amazing how relaxed they are. And they're all out there, on their warm-up lap, warming their brakes and their tyres and just chatting away to us like there's absolutely nothing going on.
Yeah, you wouldn't think an 80-minute race is about to happen, would you?
No, I mean, I'd just be in panic mode, I would, at the moment, just like, oh no, what's going to happen? And they're just talking to us like it's, they just sat having a cuppa, so fair play to them, but yeah, really exciting race ahead. Of course, we've got, the pit stop jeopardy to think about as well. That'll come soon enough. And of course we'll have different strategies, as the boys have said, track limits, speeding in the pit lane when the pit stops come, that could ruin someone's race. That happened to, was it Bart Tonks or Kevin DeHaan? I can't remember. It happened to one of them.
It was
DeHaan on Tuesday, I think, wasn't it? Yeah. Did a pit stop, then got a speeding penalty because they sped into the pit, and it was so easy to do. You overshoot it by a metre and that's it, you've had it. So much can happen. And there is so much on the line, for these guys. But one guy who can't really afford another bad race is that guy who's on pole position today, Adam. If he wants to challenge to regain this championship, he needs a win today.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I suppose the good thing with drop scores is he can afford to have had that mistake like he's had at Watkins Glen. But he can't really afford any more now. He has to be on it for the next few rounds to really give himself that chance and keep his championship hopes alive. I suppose it gives that added pressure, doesn't it? Like, you have to perform.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to give kudos. I mean, something we hadn't mentioned is Mooney, who actually stayed in second position.
I was thinking that.
He's fantastic from him. Against some very competitive guys. Yes, the Honda does have a bit of an advantage around here, but that's not to take anything away from Mooney's drive. To get himself ahead of Kingston is quite the feat. So Morris in fourth as well. But there we go, green light, it's foot flat on the floor, and away we go down to Eau Rouge. Of course, they don't start into the first corner here because there's too many cars, and that would be a nightmare. Are they all going to make it through Eau Rouge without crashing into each other or the wall? It looks all okay so far.
Nice.
Couple of positions being changed, but Foster gets a bit of a lead out in front now. Mooney, a bit of the cork in the bottle, giving Foster that little bit of breathing space. So here they come down the end of the straight now, heavy on the brakes, down to second gear for the chicane.
Oh, Michael's gone a bit deep.
He has gone deep, but he tends to take quite a wide line through there, but not that wide. There has been a spin, and it is Wellborn who's had a spin in the background. Let us just take a quick look at the replay and see if we can see what happened to him. So he's fighting away there with Balsili, and in they go. Oh, he just came across the front of him. I think he came across the front of him. I don't think that's Scott's fault myself.
It's not. He was still trying to turn right and open up the left-hander, and just came across the front of him, like you said.
Yeah, one of those things, it happens. But Foster then still leading from Mooney. Got a 1.5 second gap already. Kingston challenging Mooney for second. Morris doing a fantastic job. He seems to have got the hang of his new car. He is starting from scratch though, with 0 points now, as he's classed as a new entry in the championship. Beekhouse currently in 5th, looking like he's about to challenge Morris for position. So we'll just keep with it for the moment. Yeah, no movement today. Always getting pretty close in front as well. Kingston and Mooney. Not a lot between them. Somebody else has had an off. There's been a bit of a bump in the background, I think. And just jump onto Miller's stream and see if we can see anything. Yeah, you can see him on his stream there. He got hit from behind. Coming through the fast left-hander by the look of it, and they've all made contact with each other. That was a good time to have a little bit of a delay there, as it showed us a replay sort of built within itself, so that is all good. Zuber has just got past Weavers. Let's just take a quick look at that, see if we can see how he made that happen. Later on the brakes, down into turn 1. Nicely done. Through he goes. Fantastic.
Pretty PDF, I suppose we would say, wouldn't we?
We would say, and I think Humphreys is about to get past the harm. We might get 2 overtakes and 1 replay here. Yeah.
A fantastic run.
Great run, and through he goes later on the brakes. We're about to lose it just before, but I think we know what happened there. But Zahan has actually got past again, has got back past Humphreys, but Humphreys with a great run down there, as you said. Sorry, I just need to switch off the replay overlay. There we go. So, where are we? Kingston still behind Mooney. Beekhouse still behind Morris. We're keeping an eye on those 2 battles. Dahan looking to move forward now. He's coming up towards the back of Barnard. Barnard up in 7th place as it stands. Plenty of bottles. Josh Evans is a little bit further back than what I thought. I thought he qualified further up than that. Maybe he's had an off or had to avoid an accident or something. But he's currently down in 13th, but I'm sure he seems pretty consistent from what we've seen. He's got tons of endurance experience, and I mean proper endurance, like 10 hours races and stuff, so I'm sure he'll be making his way through the field as time ticks by. We're not even 5 minutes through this race yet, so plenty of action to go. Oh, I think there's been a bit of a bump between those 2. Well, looks okay. Perhaps I think the stream must have picked nothing up. But Wellborn has got up past Stevens now. He is back up to 16th after that early spin. So back towards the front then. Foster with a 4-second gap out in front now, all by himself. And Mooney, you can see the onboard of Mooney there, as well as what we're seeing from Kingston. You can barely see Foster. He's that far ahead of him now. In fact, you can't see Foster on Mooney's stream if you look close enough there. But I mean, is it the best place on the track to try and make a move, or will he just sit behind and be patient?
I think there's 3 places really to make a move, and that is Lecombe at the top of the Camel Straight, at turn 1 La Source, the first hairpin, and at the end of Blanchimont going into the bus stop, the last corner. They're the 3 places really, because you get the toe and you're into a really heavy braking zone, so I think they're the best places to get past. Whoa!
Oh, I
big
just
off there.
noticed there was a bit of something going on, and I jumped onto Evans as he showed that contact had been made, but let's just take a look now and see if we can see what has happened. So is a slow BMW of Tonks there in front. Evans trying to make a move. Oh, there. Yeah, that was a bit ambitious, and I think the gap was always going to close there. But I'm sure the stewards will review it after the race. A bit of a shame. We never like to see contact. Nothing malicious in it, of course. It was accidental, but maybe slightly ambitious to make a move through there.
Very reminiscent of Adam's crash with Lloyd last week, that.
Yeah, true. Yeah, very, very true. I tell you what's interesting though, mate, is that these cars are all within 2 seconds of each other. That we're seeing on stream now, and then even the Reed Barnard battle is only 2 seconds behind them as well. So I think Mooney is holding these guys up, but they've not got enough pace to make a move to get past him. So this is proving to be quite close, isn't it? For this top 8 is all really bunched together, which bodes well for the next 72 minutes.
Yeah, and I think this goes back to what I was trying to say in qualifying of that Honda, like, cars having different strengths, and that Honda's very quick in a straight line. It's allowing Michael to kind of have this buffer where he might not be as fast as Kingston, but he doesn't have to be looking in his mirrors all the time worrying about Kingston flying past, because he's got the jump every single time out of the 3 overtaking spots. Michael's got the better car underneath him, so it's probably going to be a game of chess, and it's going to come down to the pit stops on who gets past who and how the order develops. I think everyone will probably keep the cards quite close to the chest unless there's a very clear and obvious move on.
Yeah, I mean, Foster's triggered track limits there. I'm not sure whether he will have had a ping for it, but he has triggered track limits. He's lost a little bit of time, actually, so maybe he'll be okay. Barnard, really close to Reed. Reed looked really strong in his opening couple of races, but Spa catching a couple of people out, didn't it? It's like we found it really tricky. The car felt completely different around here compared to the first couple of races, and I'd say the Merc looks the same. Like, it's not quite happy. I don't know if it's just Lloyd. I mean, Kingston looks reasonably competitive, but not to the rapid pace we're used to seeing him at, and Reed also seems to be struggling, so maybe the Merc isn't happy around this track as well.
I don't think it is, because I think Lloyd was saying it's just really not a Mercedes track at all. And Adam even said that late last night after we'd all gone off. He just said it's not a Merc track, which is why I think he was keen to make sure he definitely extracted the most from this race.
Make hay while the sun shines, as they say.
Yeah, exactly.
The Zuber has lost a couple of positions. Alan Davis making his way back through after that contact. Ashley Humphreys is way down there as well. I don't know if must have made some contact.
He had an off when Josh Evans had launched it. There was an Audi off to the side.
Okay.
No name. So I think it was Ash.
Right.
Ooh, Barnard shaping up for a move on Lloyd. You have to be ambitious to go around the outside. He's going to pull it off, though. What a move!
Absolutely outstanding. What a way to introduce yourself to the league and say thank you very much. Here I am.
Nice.
That was outstanding, and we caught it live for a change, which was brilliant.
You've usually got to wake up pretty early in the day to get past Lloyd like that. Luke made it look like pretty pedestrian, didn't he?
He did, to be honest. But I said it last week. It's not just because I know him. Luke's an extremely experienced sim racer. He's just new to PC. He's not had the software on PC for 8 days. And it is a different animal to PlayStation. I know we talked about it last week. But when you make that step up to PC, the realism, the physics, everything is just. It's on steroids, isn't it, and it really does take some getting used to. So he's doing really well to be this competitive so early on.
Yeah, I suppose I'm the biggest advocate of fish out of water when it came to PC racing compared to pad racing. Never mind wheel racing on a console. So could definitely relate to Luke, and clearly he's got the. He's got the brawn, he's got the skill, and you're willing to vouch for him, which is good enough for me.
Yeah. I mean, he's all right. He's paid me 30 quid to say all those nice things, basically. So, He's got my
Did he not
PayPal.
take the Honda bribe though?
He knows where I am. The Honda bribe. Yeah, he's done a lot of work on my car, so I think I owe him some kudos for that alone. Pretty close between these three at the moment. One of our newcomers, Thomas Denman, who you mentioned earlier, holding up at the moment Wellborn and Humphreys, so nice little battle there. We'll keep an eye on that. Kingston dropped off a little bit from Mooney now, so I think Mooney was probably just struggling to find his way into the race. He just looked a little bit unsure, didn't he? But he seems to not only be pulling away from Kingston, but also keeping pace with Foster as well. That gap's still at around 3.5 seconds. So
I was going to
Foster's made a mistake.
Oh, I'll let you butt in.
No, oh sorry, the gap shot down to like 2 seconds, but I think it was just a glitch.
Okay.
So I think it was just a glitch, because the gap shot down to like 2 seconds, and then all of a sudden it's back to 3.5. So I think there was just a little bit of a glitch by the look of it. So we're okay. Anyway, what was you going to say?
I was just going to say, we were talking about setting up the tyres for early or later on in the stint, and I wonder if Kingston's tyres just got that bite quicker into the tarmac, and maybe Michael has them a little colder to warm up later into the race, and that's why we're seeing him pull away now a little bit. Now the tyres are up to temperature, we've got a couple of racing laps under our belt, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It could be, and we don't know what fuel they're running. You know, we don't know if people have filled up to go to the end and are just going to change tyres. If people are going half and half, we just don't know any of this information, unfortunately. So it is all a bit of a guessing game, but it gives us something to talk about, which is fantastic. You can see Mooney's on board there in the bottom left, and you can see Foster is getting further and further away as it stands. But a little bit of a scrappy lap from Mooney. Let's jump back on board with Morris's stream. See, he is still trying to catch Kingston, who's trying to catch Mooney, and all the while being caught by Wes Bakehouse. Barnard and Reed, with their battling, have dropped off the back of this battle a little bit now, so the front pack have separated away from the front five from the next lot. Wellborn has got past Denman, but Denman fighting back, getting that position back. Ash Humphreys there in the background as well, as they come up to Eau Rouge. Through they go. Oh, Humphreys looks like he's going to go wide, and he has. He'll be pinged for that, but he's not going to take his foot off the throttle, I can promise you, because that would cost him about 87 seconds down that straight. But proper little battle going on here. Kevin DeHaan has made it past Lloyd Reed now as well. So we'll just take a quick look at the replay, see if we can see how this happened. Oh, Reed went wide through the chicane, and that let DeHaan pass. And now Richard Arnold is right with him as well. So there we go.
Mike, we've had a message from everybody's favourite, Adam Scott, on YouTube. He's just saying how's the race going, and that the Honda's quick. I just replied back and agreed, but he has raised a very valid point of Kingston carrying 30 kilograms of ballast, which could be a key factor, especially around a track as long as Spa.
I did check the Discord, and there wasn't any mention of ballast, so because
it is in play. It is in play.
I wasn't sure, because I did check the ballast, channel earlier, and I couldn't see anything. So no, absolutely a fair comment, and maybe I just missed it, so I apologise. But yeah, absolutely a fair comment. That will obviously have a huge impact to the performance of the car. I mean, 30 kilograms doesn't sound like a lot, but it does add, to tyre wear and everything else. So it can be a bit of an issue. So no, a good point and well made. And
kudos to Adam for pointing that out, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. And well spotted indeed. So here's Ash Humphreys trying to get past Thomas Denman. So he's a little bit later on the brakes into the bus stop and gets the job done. So
Nice move.
nicely done.
Morris is off.
Morris is off. Morris has had an issue. So we're just going to go back again. This is a replay. And and it's exactly the same as the problem he was having on Tuesday at the sprint event. Through a Rouge in the Ferrari, he just could not get it to stick, and that unfortunately has cost him. Josh Evans has had an off as well, according to this. Let's just go back and see if we can see. Oh, that's a. It wasn't quite an off. It was just a little spin. He just started to lose the rear end, but he's managed to save it and keep it going. So that's good for him. So let's just have a quick recap and just looking who's the best person to jump on board with at the moment. Let's go on board with Miller's for a little bit, and we can see he's catching a car. So that'll give us a bit of entertainment to watch down there in the corner as he catches up to the back of Andrew Tasker. So we'll keep an eye on that as we just have a quick run through the field. So Adam Foster then out in front now by nearly 6 seconds from Mooney. It's a Honda 1-2 at the moment. Alex Kingston is in third place as it stands, keeping pace, and for all we know, biding his time. Foster sets the fastest lap of the race, which is a 17.6, way quicker than anybody else has been able to do at the moment. Wes Beekhouse is now in 4th position, and Luke Barnard up in 5th in his first endurance race with the league. Great showing from him. Wes showing his usual class. Kevin DeHaan is in 6th. He's fought his way up after getting knocked off early on, so he is back to where he started. Basically, Luke Barnard, who started in 13th, has made 8 positions so far in this race.
Good.
Richard Arnold, who is in 7th, and again, just trying to keep his nose clean and doing a stellar job so far. Lloyd Reed down in 8th, not having a particularly nice time. Josh Evans, he started in 12th, and he's managed to work his way up to 9th so far. I said he'll work his way through the field, and I'm confident he will. I think he'll probably get a couple more positions over the last hour of this race, although he's a little bit wide there. He must have known I was talking about him, and off he went. Bart Tonks rounding out the top 10 for us. As it stands, Tickner is in 11th. He looks much happier in the Lamborghini than he did in his previous car. Wellborn, who got knocked off quite early on, qualified quite well. He qualified 9th, and he's done 3 places after fighting his way back through after that early contact. Ash Humphreys, another who qualified just outside the top 10, down in 13th at the moment after fighting his way back through the field. Thomas Denman on debut in the Ferrari. He is up 5 positions at the moment, qualified 19th up to 14th. Great showing from him so far. Sure, we'll see him improve as the race goes on when he gets to grips with things in FDSR. Did Millers make that move yet? No, he didn't. He's dropped off the back. I just wanted to see if I'd missed it. But he is right on the back if you look at Miller's stream in the bottom left hand corner there of Tasker. So we'll keep an eye on it because we could see an overtake there. Morris then down in 15th after that spin in his Ferrari. He's not happy with Eau Rouge. He said the car feels fantastic on every other piece of tarmac out there. It's just not happy through Eau Rouge, and he can't quite seem to dial it out through setup. Alan Davis down in 16th at the moment, just ahead of Damien Humphreys. Zuma Patel is in 18th position in his McLaren. Dan Stevens in his McLaren, in the very nicely liveried West McLaren. Oh, that was a bad time to join him as well, as he does a little spin round. And he's got a Pirelli sign stuck in his wheel. Well, I've never seen that before. That's a new one on me. and he's lost it. That was brilliant. But Simpson is now ahead of him because of that. Darrell Weaver's up in 21st in the Lego Lambo. Scott Balseeley and Matt Heaton in 23rd and 22nd respectively. Not really a happy bunny. We spoke to Matt before the race and he's not particularly enjoying himself. Paul Prescott into the pits. Andrew Tasker in 25th. Millers is in 26th. And Alex McGee is in 27th. A couple of laps down after having to make an early pit. So that is where we are. And I don't think we've missed anything in that meantime. It's spreading out a little bit now, as it does tend to do. I mean, endurance races do tend to sort of draw out a little bit, don't they, Ars? And, you know, you're not going to be nose to tail for 80 minutes. It's just not possible for this type of racing.
No, and it's not even worth trying to be on that much of a limit. You're asking for a mistake with you racing for so long. It's just so hard to keep up that consistency, especially when there's so much to play for. You know, we're not even at the halfway point, and the fact that we've got guys within a second or just over a second is pretty tight, really, in the grand scheme of things. You know, a second's nothing over the course of 80 minutes. It feels very minuscule.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a case of staying as close as you can without ruining your own car, isn't it? You know, in turbulent air, and you know, it's so easy to make a mistake as well when the car gets unsettled. And playing a sensible game.
Yeah, definitely.
That is what is important. It's interesting to see as well. You know, just thinking of the different views the drivers use to race. So you've got Foster, who uses the one where you're sort of just on the cusp of the windscreen. Mooney uses the same view, actually. Millers uses the steering wheel view a little bit further back, and Morris uses the helmet cam. And I'm a fan of the helmet cam myself. I think it's the most realistic. But you know, everybody's different. Everybody's got their own preferences. Dehaan is off. Let's just take a look at the replays, see what has happened to Kevin. If I can get the button to work, we'll take a look. So here he is. Oh. What happened there then? That's strange,
Just
isn't
complete. The car just didn't stop, did it?
No, and then he just carried on. So very bizarre. That was, yeah.
I tell you what.
One of the strangest things I've seen. Go on.
Adam Scott, you need to get yourself a job as Mercedes strategist. In fact, I'll employ you for Ferrari because you've got more of than one brain cell. He's just said that Kingston has to go for the no tyre swap. It could be enough to get the dub. I tell you what, it's a bold call, and on a track like Spa where you need tyres, it might not work, but if he pulls it off, that would be some win. He's only 7.3 seconds off the lead.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you know, if he can gain himself 30 seconds in the pit stop, or if he's, I mean, I'm not sure if he's capable of doing the 80 minutes straight out, because I don't think it's a mandatory stop, as far as I'm aware. I think it is just a case of stop if you have to, which most people will. But if he is able to fuel save and stuff, and he doesn't have to stop at all, but even if he does stop, and he doesn't change tyres, and he just has to top up a little bit of fuel, that could save him 30 odd seconds in the stop, and all of a sudden he's up in first. So
that's what Adam's saying. Just no tyre swap. Just I think he could definitely say in here that he thinks he could hold third with used tyres. So nothing to lose if that's the case, but I don't know. I feel like with the ballast it could eat away at the tyres a bit more than you'd expect to. I feel like a tyre stop probably kind of has to happen, especially at a track like this. It's just, I feel like it's a bit too demanding on the car not to. But hey, we've seen some funky strategies over FDSR. Could happen.
It could. Unfortunately, Morris has had a spin
Oh, Morris
again, and again it's through Eau Rouge as far as I can tell, because there's some pit lane sort of things there. So he's gone round
That's
again.
rally on, actually.
Yeah, but it's probably
Sorry,
it's
that's
probably
just-
through Eau Rouge. It
that
happened.
was just
Is what I meant.
that was just the WTF1 joke there.
But I noticed Rich Arnold in the pits very early as well, so he's probably had some damage, I would imagine, which we haven't seen. That is a bit early, but he can make it to the end from there, so hopefully he can get back out and keep it clean for the rest of the race. But that is a shame. I don't know what happened, but something did, obviously. Tickner's lost a couple of places. There's been a bit of contact, I think. Bit of argy-bargy between these guys. So what I'm going to do is just pop the replay on and see if we can see what's happened, because they're all showing that they've made contact. There's four of them all close together here, as you can see. I'm not seeing any major incidents, but it seemed to flash up that there'd been contact. But I tell you what it is, though, is a super close battle, and so what we'll do is we'll stick with it for a bit. Got Morris's stream on there as well, as he catches up to the back of and that is Tonks into the pits. Where is Morris? Actually, I've lost him. There he is, 21st. So he's catching up to the back of Matty Heaton at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on that. Got Humphreys into the pits as well. So they've robbed us of that close 4-car battle by all being selfish and doing their pit stops. Horrible, horrible people. Oh, this is a bit different though. Proper close between these guys, and you got Weavers in front of Heaton and Dan Stevens there, all battling away, with Artis Millers not too far behind as well. This Pop Millers is stream. Oh, there's another spinner, and Dan Stevens gets spun round. Let's just go
Yeah,
back.
I'll tell you what, it's a miracle he didn't collect anyone.
This is a replay, guys. Sorry, the replay overlay didn't load. So he goes down. Yeah, they just not aware of each. Not enough spatial awareness there from Weavers, would you say? Or would you say it's Stevens' fault for doing a dive?
Probably 6 and 2 threes of both. I'm just watching it again on the YouTube, just to get a second opinion on it. The brilliance of technology.
Brilliance of internet lag.
Oh, I don't know. I wonder if Dan just slightly outbraked himself. It didn't look like a dive. The direction change didn't look like a jolt. I don't know. I've got a bit of sympathy for both drivers. Yeah, that's my 2 pence on it anyway. I think it was just an accident, a genuine accident.
Yep, fair enough. These things happen. Unfortunately, it's not ideal, but they do happen. So, where are we now? Let's just pop back on with Morris, who's catching up to the back of Weavers, so we can see that on his stream. As you can see, Morris catching up with Weavers, catching up with Heaton. So that is all happening while we keep an eye on Wellborn, who's making his way back through the field after an accident early on, and is now catching up to the back of Darren Tickner, and looking to make his way up into 9th place. He's had a much better run out of the first corner there, didn't he? You can see how much he closed that gap. Tickner really struggling for traction.
Yeah, really, really struggling. I wonder if that's a Lamborghini thing, because obviously Matty's saying he's struggling as well. I just wonder if that car's not quite hooked up around the Spa.
Could be, but are we going to see a move now down into the cameraman's having a laugh? There we go. Are we going to see a move down into the chicane? Who's later on the brakes? Or they're battling each other side by side. Oh, there is a little touch. There's a little touch there, and that's enough to send both of them a little bit wide, but Wellborn more than Tickner. But they're back alongside each other now.
Morris is through as well on the Lego Lambo. Just watching in the bottom left.
Yeah, and through he went.
Sorry, I know it's all kicking off as well on stream. I'm
No.
just trying to keep an eye on both.
That's absolutely fine, and that's... Oh, he's done it again! Morris, you can see on Morris's stream.
No way!
He's binned it again through Eau Rouge.
It was a brilliant move at La Source as well. It came from so far back. That is such a shame he's gone straight to the pits.
He's binned it.
He's had enough.
I think he's changing his setup and he's going to go back out and try again. Such a shame for him. Such a shame for him. And Wellborn now through on Tickner as well while we were talking about that. Thomas Denman currently up to 11th, but some people have pitted, some people haven't, so it's all a bit juggled around out there at the moment. Josh Evans currently up to 7th, about a second and a half behind Lloyd Reed. Barnard still holding on to 5th. Who haven't we talked about? Alan Davis is up to 12th now, but again there are some pit stops yet to come. But he seems to have kept it pretty calm and consistent, so he may well find himself gaining positions just through pure consistency as Tickner peels off into the pits. Get your words out, Michael. And Denman goes up into 10th place. So it was Denman and Evans, you said, were racing alongside each other in the same house, were they?
Yeah, apparently so.
There we go. That's all good to know. So they are rivals on track, rivals in the same house.
Look at this from Millers. He's going to go up the inside at Blanchimont. I can't tell if they're side by side or not, but I think he's got the move done. Yeah, he's done it. Good move.
Yeah, we just missed it, unfortunately, but we saw it on his stream, but not live. So apologies for that. But nonetheless, good move. Well done. But yeah, Heaton really struggling out there. I'm just trying to see where people are, but some people are in the pits and some people aren't, and it's a bit all over the place at the moment. But Foster has lapped one of the Audis, which I suspect is Ash Humphreys, as Ash has done his pit stop. And we've still got 27 cars out there, which is pretty good. Rich Arnold's... no, he's not back in the pits again, sorry. But he's still last. He's about 3 laps down, so he had a very long pit stop. And disappointing we didn't see what happened there, because it must have been something pretty bad to have put him that far down. But still, you know, still 45 minutes to go. A lot can happen, but kudos to him for carrying on, at least. Tickner into the pits now. Darrell Weavers moves up in the Lego Lambo. So closest battle on track at the moment is Josh Evans chasing down Lloyd Reed. Mooney 10 seconds near enough off the back of Foster now. Kingston 2 seconds further back again. So it's looking pretty comfortable for Adam at the moment. Not to give him the commentator's curse, but the second half is where we'll start to see a bit of jeopardy, because people will be doing track limits and you know, the pit stops may have been messed up and all that kind of stuff. So we'll keep a close eye on things and see how it goes. We see Mooney lapping one of the BMWs there on his stream. But not a lot to report, so we'll just go back to our main coverage. It's kind of just waiting now, isn't it, for the pit stops to happen, to just sort of see where everybody ends up.
Yeah, it's kind of like the waiting game now, isn't it? So, this is it really, isn't it? Just before the halfway point, this is where things are going to get a little bit spicy. Just looking at gaps, I can see DeHaan's in the pits, so we've got another pitter. What are you thinking, Mike? What's the strategy? What's your game plan if this is Senor Bullen in the NSX? What's he doing?
What, in terms of my strategy? Sorry. just making sure
Yeah,
I'm following. Yeah, sorry, just making sure I was following then. Yeah, in terms of me, I always go 50-50. I think whenever I try to be cocky and do anything else, I usually mess it up. So I always try to go 50-50 because then if you do have an accident, you have to pit a little bit early. It's not too far from what your original strategy would have been. So I tend to err on the side of caution myself. So 50-50, change tyres.
Yeah.
You know, half a tank of fuel for the first half, half a tank for the second half. Job done.
Keeps it nice and simple, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't think I'm skilled enough to pull anything else off. As in, you know.
I'll tell you what, Mike. Sorry to butt in. Kingston's in the pits. Let's see if he changes tyres. Will we know if he changes tyres? Can we actually see that?
No. It'll just be down to the amount of time he spends in. It doesn't manually show you guys in the pit lane. I think
think it did.
He's driven straight through.
No, he's not. He's just got to the source there. He's got to keep on going.
Oh, sorry. Yes, apologies. He's at the wrong part of the pit.
I've done that so many times. Don't worry.
So we'll keep an eye on it. Basically, if he should be stationary for 60 seconds if he's putting tyres on, I estimate, and a lot less than that if he is not putting tyres on. So if he can, if it's about 30-35 seconds, then he's only put fuel in. So we'll see. But it's amazing the length of the pit lane, and he's gone from 3rd down to 11th already, and he hasn't actually stopped in his. Oh, he has now stopped in his box. So it'll be interesting to see what his actual stationary time is. So we're just waiting for that to pop up. Maybe he's going just for a normal strategy. Maybe he's trying to be a bit clever and go on one set of tyres. Who knows? We will see. But Foster is still
I'm quite nervous for this.
Yeah. He's been in 100 seconds so far, so I'm expecting if he isn't taking tyres, he should be on the move. Okay, so he was stationary for 30 seconds, so that means he's taking tyres.
Right.
Yeah, because it's a mandatory 30 seconds basically if you take tyres, so he's taking tyres, so he's not gained anything there. He should have been stationary for about 20-25 seconds. When I was talking earlier, sorry, I was thinking of total pit time, but of course it's a lot longer here because Spa's pit lane is so long, so I was getting a little bit confused with the numbers. But yes, you would expect if he's only doing fuel for it to be somewhere between 15 and 25 seconds for him to gain that time back, which hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So it is a 32-second stop, which is pretty much a standard stop. So
Michael's immediately pitted. Must be right on cue. Adam Scott says undercut is strong here, so that's definitely a response to Kingston pitting, I feel.
Yeah, he won't want Kingston had to have too much of an advantage, but the track is very cold. It's only 14 degrees out there, so the tyres are going to take a little bit of time to bring up to temperature. So will the undercut be as powerful as it normally is with the track temperature being just 14 degrees? We don't know. We'll find out. That's the beauty of it. We get to watch and find out live. So Foster just lapping a car there. So Barnard in 3rd at the moment. Bakehouse up to 2nd as some people have started to pit. So where's Kingston? There he is. So let's just pop Mooney's thing there. So his stream of course will be a little bit behind our stream because Kingston is just coming through the bus stop chicane and there are tyres going on Mooney's car, so even with it being about 5-6 seconds behind, I think Kingston has comfortably got this covered. Unless Mooney starts moving now, it's pretty much Kingston getting that position, I think. And I think Scott was right in that the undercut was just too powerful, but then Mooney's stream is a little bit behind. So where is he actually on track? Oh, it's so close. I was trying to judge it because obviously Mooney's
it's very close.
Yeah, Mooney's stream was so far behind, and I was just trying to calculate the math. So I thought Kingston was just going to get him, but he's obviously got hotter tyres now.
Right on the outside. Oh my god!
Right from the outside. What a move indeed! Absolutely brilliant. Let's just take a look at the replay on that, just to watch that again, because that was absolutely brilliant. So here's Kingston then, just coming. You can see through the pits, and Mooney, of course.
So much more speed.
Yeah, Mooney, of course, coming out of the pit lane, didn't have that same level of speed that Kingston would have had going down the straight and up through Eau Rouge. So it just was just enough for him. So yeah, the undercut did work, and it was absolutely the right option. So fantastic. So now we can see if Mooney has got what it takes to keep up and even challenge Kingston. So we'll stick on with Mooney's on board there in the bottom left hand corner for a little bit while we watch these two challenge each other. But that was
that's a weird one. Zuber just saying, Mike, on stream, he had no pit box. Have you ever had that glitch? He's came into the pits and there's no pit box for him to stop it.
I've had it, but apparently it's if somebody else has accidentally stopped in your pit box, it won't let you stop in it. So it could be something like that, maybe. Somebody else had accidentally stopped in the wrong one, but I have seen it before, yes. But I believe it is a glitch if somebody else has stopped in your box. So Foster in the pits now, so he's just leaving the pit lane as the other two are coming around. Oh god, I can't even find them.
Gap, hasn't he?
Yeah, so they just coming down towards the roof. He's got that pretty much nice.
He's practically got half of the first sector, hasn't he?
Yeah,
covered.
He's 11 seconds then once all the timings have settled down. He's got 11 seconds as a gap. So
a yellow for Wes. And a slow car flashing up for Wes as well. Don't know if that was just a glitch of him coming out of the pits or something daft like that.
Yeah, might have been, because the same was happening to Foster and he'd just come out the pits, so perhaps it was just that. So good shout. It may well
panic there.
may well just be the case. Yeah. Davis into the pits. Evans has already done his pit stop, so he's now back out and in 10th place at the moment, with some places to gain once all the pit stops have happened, I'm sure. Thomas Denman's up to 4th at the moment, having not pitted yet. Damien Humphries in 3rd, having not pitted yet. Wellborn is just into the pits now. So, and Barnard also into the pits. So that's pretty much everybody. Humphries following them in. If Thomas Denman comes in, then I guess your de facto leader once again is, yeah, Denman goes in. So Foster, in effect, is back in the lead of this race. Taking it up past Davis. I wonder if that was a bit of an issue for Davis. Let's have a quick look. Oh, we just missed it, unfortunately. It didn't go back far enough. Stupid thing. But Tickner getting himself up past Davis nonetheless. Just waiting to see where everybody ends up after the pit stops now. There's absolutely
Sorry for the antisocial, Mike. I'm just catching up on a couple of stream messages.
No, that's fine. I was just to say, absolutely nobody's got a drive-through penalty or nothing. They've been really selfish. So they've taken all that fun away from us, which is a shame. But how dare they? But there we go. It's all settled back down again now as people are coming out of the pits. So Luke Barnard having a particularly long pit stop, 42 seconds. So he's lost a good 7-8 seconds at least in his stop compared to others around him. So he comes out now just ahead of Lloyd Reed, who's fought his way back up to 6th through the stops. He's done well. Josh Evans up to 7th, about 10 seconds further back from these guys. Wellborn just coming to the exit. Humphreys on his way out. Ash Humphreys now up into the top 10 after those pit stops. Wellborn 8th, Humphreys 9th, Tonks 10th. Other Humphreys in 11th, just ahead of Tickner. So it's still pretty close between a few of these drivers. Still plenty of action to come. But Tickner's done the same down the straight, I think. So let's just take a look at this. So Humphreys coming out of the pits. This is a replay, sorry. And Humphreys suffering the same as Mooney did, really, just having no pace out of the pits, and therefore Tickner having a lot more speed down the Kemmel Straight, and through he goes up to 11th. So
Yes.
yeah, carbon copy, really. But I guess that is that bit of jeopardy, really, isn't it? You need a big gap coming out of the pits because obviously you're going to have a lot less momentum down that long ass straight. So
Yeah. The net loss through the pits isn't just really the pit like itself, it's actually all the way down the Kemmel Straight, isn't it? So the net loss really is a lot longer than what you might calculate with just the pit time.
yeah, it's probably got to be close to 110 seconds altogether with everything. So it's nearly 2 minutes, really, which is you know, surprising, but true. So just keeping an eye on Mooney's stream there down the bottom left. He's just over a second and a half behind Kingston at the moment, so he is sticking with him for pace, but maybe as the stint goes on, that ballast will start to play a part, and Mooney will be able to rein him back in. But Kingston, interestingly, came out of the pit stops, what was it, 11.5 seconds behind Foster, and that's down to 7.3 now. So he's actually catching Foster out in front as well, so we'll keep an eye on that gap. But at the moment, Kingston and Mooney both catching Adam Foster, which is intriguing to know. So
Definitely.
Bakehouse
It's not over yet, is it?
No, certainly isn't. And that's the beauty of these endurance races, is, as we've said, we just don't know what people's tactics are, the fuels they're running, and everything else. So it's all a little bit of an unknown. So watching it unfold is quite interesting. Wes Bakehouse is kind of in no man's land, really. He's 7 seconds behind that Mooney-Kingston battle, and 14 seconds ahead of 5th place Luke Barnard. So it's very much just a case of concentrating, bring it home for Wes. Barnard in 5th, where he finished in the last reverse grid sprint race. His one real race, because the first race he spun out in the first couple of laps. Lloyd Reed was putting pressure on him, but he appears to have had to back off a little bit, and he doesn't quite have the pace to stay with him. Josh Evans has taken nearly a second out of Lloyd Reed, so he may well be challenging for 6th place before the end of this race. We do still have half an hour to go, so plenty of time. So what's that, about 13 laps by my calculation,
Roughly.
with the lap times that we have around here. Yeah.
Oh, Alan's quite close to the back of Ash. That gap's quite tight.
It's actually Damien Humphreys, not Ash Humphreys, but it is a Humphreys, and it is a blue Audi nonetheless, so I'll lay you off. But it is the back of Damo, not Ash, that Alan is close to. So good spot. I hadn't seen that. And let's see if that Honda's got in the tank to get the Audi. No other particularly close battles on track at the moment, so we'll stick with this one. The Honda's definitely got an advantage around here compared to. I mean, I was saying to friends earlier, it's amazing. I've run the Honda for 2 years, and it's been one of the worst cars. And the minute I drop it for the Porsche, the balance of performance has made it like the best car on the circuit. And I'm like, uber annoyed by that, but there we go. It is what it is.
It's sod law, mate. You leave TCSRL and everyone gels together. now you've left the Honda and it's the best car.
There's one common denominator there, and his name is Michael Bullen. I'm just an absolute disaster, but you know.
Hey, Mike, if you had no luck, if you didn't have bad luck, you'd have no luck at all.
Absolutely. But no, you know, if TCSRL is thriving without me, clearly me leaving was the right thing to do. That's all I'll say. Clearly I was the bottle in the cork, as Andrew Pauly would say. Even though it's supposed to be the cork in the bottle. But a little nod to my commentating friend there.
He is watching tonight.
Mooney and I thought Mooney had got past Kingston there, but it was a back marker. I saw a Mooney stream somebody flying off into the gravel, but it wasn't Kingston. It was a back marker. So Foster flashing white there, so he's a little bit of an off, I think. But he's extended his lead back up to 8 seconds now, so I think his tyres are now up to temp, and he's well on his way. So Kingston has extended the gap to Mooney as well, so that is now 3.5 seconds. Mooney third. Birkhoff has taken a second out of Mooney, so Mooney's struggling a little bit at the moment. His last couple of laps are late 2:19, so Wes actually faster than Mooney and Kingston on the last lap, so could well be, you know, with plenty of laps to go, that even Wes Birkhoff could be in with a shout of a podium here. So again, we'll keep an eye on the gaps. Reed still about a second and a half behind Barnard in the battle for 5th, and Davis still about the same behind Humphreys in that battle for 12th. So there are still battles and still plenty of time for it to change. But yeah, a disappointingly small amount of jeopardy in the pit stops, I'd say today.
I thought Mooney was about to go past Kingston. It was another back marker. I did it.
It's easily done, my friend.
Guys.
It's easily done.
I just looked up a song.
Easily done. Yeah, not enough jeopardy in the pit stops for me. Everybody's been all sensible, and nobody's sped in the pit lane, and you know nobody's got a drive-through penalty. It's all been very boring, isn't it?
I think this is the thing, and I kind of said it as a joke last week, but I suppose we could maybe look at it with a little bit more serious light now. The small tracks bode well for endurance races because they're just so bonkers and so tight, and everybody seems to do really well at them. And then we come to a long track like Spa for an endurance, and it's just really spread out and not as much happening. But Spa for sprint in season 2 was fantastic. So is it worth flipping it on its head and running sprint races at endurance tracks and endurance at sprint tracks?
Yeah, I mean it depends on the league, doesn't it? The talent of the drivers, everything else. There's so many factors.
Oh, there's a lot of factors.
Yeah, absolutely. And but no, I see your point. You know, and it's like we even took the touring cars here, didn't we? And it was some of the best racing we'd ever had. We had like 4 cars cross the line within a second of each other, battling for victory. You know, and even in touring cars around here. So it's one of those tracks that can lend itself to really good short sprint races as well as endurance. So, but it does have a tendency, due to the intricacies of the circuit and the difficulty of it, it's not an easy place to race. It does tend to string the field out a little bit, but there we go. It's not for us to make these decisions. We're not in charge. But what we are in charge of is calling the action, and what action we do have at the moment is the Honda NSX of Alan Davis, number 5 for Team Rad, chasing down Damien Humphreys for Team Dash. And
is the back marker going to play a factor?
Seeing as this the other Rad car, I would say yes, he may well play a little bit dirty here and back Damo into his teammate.
That's where I was trying to go with it.
Big mistake from Humphreys. And he's just got his braking wrong. And Alan Davis says, "Thank you very much. Good night, Irene." So let's just take another look at that on the replay from the helicam. Humphreys trying to be as late on the brakes as possible in order to keep Davis behind, and it ended up being the opposite. Do you think he was maybe, I mean, I'm not suggesting anything dirty did happen, because it certainly didn't, but was he distracted by the back marker, perhaps trying to think about how to get past the back marker, and that may have distracted him, do you think?
Easily plausible. And I tell you what as well, do you reckon it's the first time in a long time he's got some slipstream and just simply outbroke himself?
Yeah, absolutely could be. Turbulent air and everything else could have just impacted him, but you can see even with the slipstream there, he was not able to catch the Honda down the straight. So his best bet now is to just try and stick with him and put the pressure on through the twisty bits. But for now, it's all done. So just jump on board with Foster there, who's just about to cross the line and start another lap. Stellar race from Adam so far, I must say. He's kept it nice and simple, nice and clean, and it's got nothing in front of him as it gets dark up there. Track temperature still 14 degrees at the moment. Oh, look how close Humphries is here. All right on the back of Davis. And if anywhere, this is where he needs to be able to launch the car, isn't it? Keep in that slipstream and then be later on the brakes into the bus stop. But not as late as he was on the previous lap.
Yeah. Be late, but not too late, but not too early. Get it right.
Fashionably late. Like arriving at a party.
Just do it right.
Exactly.
Don't do it wrong. Don't do it wrong. Just do it right.
Absolutely true. So
it's easy to do, isn't it, Mike? We've done it on Tuesday.
I've done it right many times. Done it right, done it wrong.
Did it. Done it all sorts of right, left, up, down.
I don't think I did much right on Tuesday, I'll be honest. It was a bit of a disaster, personally. But well, race one wasn't too bad. I managed to finish in the top 10, which, considering I didn't set a lap in quali because I couldn't set a clean lap, and battled from 17th, I thought that was quite good. But in race 2, I binned it through a Rouge. I did a Morris, and which is weird because all the way through practice, all the way through quali, and all the way through race 1, I didn't lose the car once. And I took the same line I was taking. The back end just went. It was really bizarre. Absolutely no reason for it, but there we go.
I think that was just the game handicapping us and basically saying that we are too good. We were setting 2-minute 15s, and the Settle Course admins who run the game said, well, we can't be having this, and they really nerfed the Porsche and just added in that factor of randomness, random spins. I had one, you had one. It's just because we're too good, Mike. We're just too good.
Absolutely. We're that good. Just to let you know, folks, if we'd raced today, we would have qualified in 25th and 26th position. out of the 27 drivers on track. That's how good me and Aaron are at ACC. I mean, to be fair, jokes aside, normally we would probably be in this league if we would, with these guys, because not everybody here races on a Tuesday, 12th, 13th, 14th. But for some reason, the Porsche just was absolutely dreadful around here the other day. And a lot of that is probably because it's just got no top speed and its acceleration is poor, and that's what this track is all about, really. So, Michael Mooney back into the pits. I think he must have had an accident. Or is it a drive-through? It might be a drive-through. It'll pop up and tell us if it's a drive-through. We'll just stick with him a moment. But Mooney now not even on the podium. It doesn't appear to be any damage. It's a very dirty Honda, but I think it might be track limits. It'll tell me if it's a drive-through once he completes it. So I'll keep an eye on that. But unfortunately, Mooney back in the pits, which means this man now, Wes Bakehouse, is on the podium, which we haven't really talked about much about him. He's been a little bit on his own, a little bit anonymous, really, in this race. But all of a sudden now, he's on the podium. So, yeah, Mooney.
Yep.
Mooney. It does look like it was a drive-through because he is going straight through. But I'll just wait for confirmation on that. 72-second pit stop. It was a drive-through penalty for track limits.
Tickner with a big yellow. He's dropping down the order.
Yeah, we'll just keep a look at the replay. Let's see if we can catch what happened there. So going down between the two rod in a rod sandwich, and was tagged from behind by the looks of it by Davis. Contact showing between Davis and Tickner on my screen. So although the camera didn't get the right angle, we can confirm that there was contact based on the software, so that is a bit of a shame, but there we go. Still got all 27 cars running out there. A couple are in the pits and retired, but none of them have left the lobby. They're all still in there. 24 currently running on track, which is very, very pleasing for one of these endurance races, because it's so easy for people to lose their head a little bit and quit, but people have stuck at it. What we have missed is that Humphries has got back past Davis during all that melee. That oh, of course, yeah, because he would have. Well, Davis hit that. Davis hit Tickner, didn't he? Sorry. So therefore, he probably would have had to have backed out of it, and therefore Humphries has got back past him. So that gives us a little bit something to watch towards the end of this race.
Definitely. Sorry, I'm slowly dying here. I'm going to go disappear and get my little blue asthma can from upstairs, and I'll be back. Give me like 2 minutes.
You do that, not a problem. So Foster still leading, just to confirm, by 12.5 seconds from Alex Kingston. Birkhouse now up to third after Michael Mooney's drive-through penalty, and just to show you the jeopardy of the pit lane here, Mooney's penalty has put him from third position down to 9th. So that is the level and the amount of places you lose around here, just from having a drive-through penalty. So track limits crucial to stay within them as much as you can. It's getting darker and darker up there, but we can still see. And track temperature holding strong at 14 degrees. So Barnard in 4th place in the Rick and Morty Ferrari. Yeah, great endurance debut for Luke Barnard here, up in 4th. 4 number 4. So great job from him. Still getting the grips, as we said, with everything, but certainly showing his class out there today. And 4th place, nothing to sniff at on debut in an endurance race. So Lloyd Reid, not being his best day. Not that he's driven poorly, but I think, as we said earlier, a lot of it is due to the car not being suitable around here. So I think you'd probably be reasonably happy with a 5th place at the moment. Josh Evans up to 6th now then. Winner of Sprint Race 2 last week, and 6th place today after qualifying, I believe, in 12th, was it? It was 12th, so 6 positions gained as well. All good from him. I'm sure he'll be reasonably pleased with that return. The young Welshman doing a stellar job. Andrew Wellborn, who had contact early on after qualifying in 9th, is now up to 7th and has gained 2 positions overall. Ash Humphries is in 8th. He qualified in 11th. So he's up comfortably into the top 10 now, having a much better afternoon than he did in week 1, and he missed week 2 altogether. Michael Mooney in 9th position now. After that drive-through penalty, I'm sure he is probably fuming inside the podium. His best finish this season was all there for the taking, and it's just all gone wrong for him because of a drive-through penalty. But with drive-throughs, you can only blame yourself as the driver, really, because it's up to you to keep it in the limits. But
oh, my knee. Oh.
Well, don't hit your knee. It's bad for you. Barton,
it's not that.
Barton's rounding out the top 10 in the number 33 BMW. So the big question now, really, after Davis hitting Tickner, I believe it was, wasn't it? Is can he get back past Humphries? He's definitely got a bit of an advantage in top line speed. You can see that time coming down, especially in the slipstream as they're coming down this long straight now. Humphries picking up a little bit of a toe from Davis's teammate in front, actually, the Rad Honda, number 24 of Rich Arnold, who was comfortably running top 10 until what we assume must have been a big accident, which we didn't catch, but it was such a long pit stop, and he's now down in 24th position, which is such a shame.
That felt like there was an element of sarcasm there, Mike. Such a shame.
No sarcasm, just stating the obvious. It was a shame, We like Rich, we want him to do well, and certainly I think a top 10 finish today would have sufficed, but not to be. And of course, there's a Honda, which I'm a Honda boy, so Reed showing a white flag there, so I think he's okay. Yeah. Just one of those imaginary white flags that the game likes to flash at us for no reason whatsoever.
We love to see it.
We do indeed. But all's good there. So back to the Rad versus Dash battle. Sounds like some sort of superhero battle, but it's not. It's just the name of the two teams. And Alan Davis, who did not qualify well, having an absolutely stellar race, up in 12th at the moment, battling away for 11th with Humphreys. So, what we got? 12 minutes to go. Should we start thinking about our driver of the race?
I was already thinking of it.
You were.
But I was thinking of it so much that I'm absolutely stumped. I may as well talk myself through it though. Oh, Bart Tonks in. Interesting.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. I suspect that is probably a drive-through at this stage.
No, go on. Sorry, I was just.
No. I was just going to say it's probably a drive-through at this stage. I wouldn't imagine he's got any other reason to stop.
I tell you what, Mike. Oh, I just nearly dropped my phone. That'd have been bad. I think one of my shouts for driver of the race would be, I don't know, I feel kind of reluctant to give it to Josh because he got it last week, but I feel like he's drove fantastically up into P6. I would say Luke Barnard on debut, P4 in the Ferrari, he probably tips the hat for me. Fantastic drive.
Yeah, Luke was going to be my shout, to be fair. I think P4 on debut in endurance after a torrid opening week, and like I say, 8 days to get used to the PC world and everything else. Not advertising the company PC world there, that doesn't exist. The world of PC, I should say. I
should clarify that as well. Debut on endurance, not debut.
Yeah. But yeah, I think all told, Luke's a really good shout for driver of the race.
It's unanimous.
Which will give him a little bonus point as well, which is nice. So it's nice to be able to dish out points to the drivers. Points win prizes, as they say. And speaking of points, I think Alan Davis is somebody who's trying to make a really good point here of Alan is faster than Damo. So they're going to be late on the brakes.
Oh, look at this. It's getting spicy. It's going to take a late dive.
Who's going to be later on the brakes? You can see Davis is later on the brakes, but he thinks better of it.
He's backed out of it.
He tucks back in.
Switch back. Quite easy to spin the car, I found, when you take that line, because you're a bit later on the curb. When you apply the throttle, you're not actually off it.
Yeah, it's a strange corner for camber as well, isn't it? It's a bit. It's a bit uncomfortable. You have to. The Porsche is quite nice through there, but some cars are absolutely dreadful through there. But he's so close now. At this point, you'd have to say, at the end of the straight, he's got to be in a prime position to be later on the brakes. But Humphrey's not going to make it easy for him. Humphrey's in the top 10 at the moment, and will be desperately hoping to hang on to that top 10 position.
I think he was a bit too close going through Eau Rouge because he had to back out of it, and obviously you carry that all the way up the Kemmel Straight, so he's backed out. I can see it on the YouTube actually. He's backed out on the left-hand turn into Eau Rouge, and that's kind of put him back to probably a second now. So got it all to do again, but certainly at this stage it seems like Alan's definitely in the quicker car. Just a case of making sure he takes his time, regathers himself, gets himself back onto the back of the Audi. Oh, there's a yellow flag for the other Humphreys. I don't know what happened there between himself and Michael.
Yeah, Mooney's made the position, so let us take a quick look at the replay, and we will see what happened. Sorry, the overlay's not loaded again. I do apologise.
Oh, I tell you what, I bet he gets loose going into Poo-on. Oh no, he's just gone straight on. What? That's weird.
I wonder whether
That's really weird.
he might have maybe just got distracted, or you know, I'm just thinking
strange.
maybe he was just looking in his mirrors and, you know, he just sort of missed his braking point or something. But yeah, just very, very strange one, that. Very strange indeed. But that's cost him one position, so Mooney up to 8th. Humphreys down to 9th, so it's Humphreys 9, Humphreys 10 at the moment. But for how long? Look how close Davis once again is to the back of Ash Humphreys. This makes me wish that all the drivers could stream on board, so we could go to all of them whenever we wanted. But unfortunately, I don't think my PC would handle 27 streams on top of me streaming and running the game, and you know, streaming this to you in Discord. My PC's already doing a lot of work. But Humphreys has kept him behind again.
Close. He's a bit too close. Actually, this is a better distance. This is more workable.
Yeah,
it just means he won't get caught out, doesn't it? Top of Radion.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he was way too close through here earlier, wasn't he? And you don't want to be that close, because without the downforce, your car's just going to float all over the place and you end up in a wall.
It's fear as well, I think, because if Damo makes a mistake, there's no room for manoeuvrability at all.
He's giving him a little flash of the lights as well, trying to put the pressure on, trying to distract the Audi driver. And the Audi, not a particularly strong car this season, that's why there's not that many out there. And got to say, I think the Humphreys brothers actually doing very well this season, considering how poor the car is. The balance of performance change has really affected the Audi more than others. Because yeah, just checking, another one of those imaginary white flags, but all good, because still in 3rd position. Foster still out in front, and also with the fastest lap of the race, so clean sweep for Foster at the moment. Dehaan close to the back of Tickner as well, just keeping an eye on that battle. Dehaan carrying a little bit of damage by the look of his car. So 6 minutes left, so where is Foster's halfway around the lap, so I would imagine 2 laps left after the one that Foster is on. Foster's on lap 31, these guys are still on lap 30 at the moment, to be on lap 31 very, very soon. Wellborn catching up to the back of Josh Evans as well. That's only a 1.5 seconds, that gap at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on that as well as we head down to the last couple of laps. So 3 laps to go for these guys as they cross the line. 2, it'll be for Foster after this lap by my rough calculations. Maybe 3 actually. I'm just trying to figure out where he's going to cross the line. It's all maths. I'm trying my best. But yeah, Davis still not able to get past. Humphreys doing a stellar job really in that Audi, just to keep that Honda behind, isn't he?
Yeah, he's doing really well. I think that's a credit to Damo's racecraft. I mean, how long have you known Damo, and how long has he smashed the sim out? He's been in this situation before, he's no stranger, so he's not buckling, and he's just doing exactly what he needs to do, which is just keeping it on the tarmac. And you know, he had that little wobble where he went a bit deep, but other than that, he's just he's been nailing every apex, nailing every exit, which is all you got to do when you're the defender. You can't spend your time looking in your rear mirrors.
No, absolutely. And he'll be driving it for real with me in August this year, because we're booked to go back out, and we're doing a little track day at Spa. So that'll be a nice fun day for me and Damo. He'll be using all this experience that day to kick my ass, no doubt. Not that we're racing on a track day, obviously. That's a bad thing to say. Never race on a track day, folks. Keep the stopwatch away. Right, Kevin DeHaan is still close to the back of Darren Tickner, but still no joy in getting past. It's got a lot of damage on that BMW, actually, a lot more than I thought. That was really bad. Wellborn, getting really close to the back of Evans now. And so a couple of battles all coming to fruition right at the end of the race here, which is great for us, as there plenty of entertainment for these last couple of laps.
Yeah, this is what we want. This is how an endurance race should end. Everyone should really merge on the last few laps, because this is it now. It's like there's no time to plot your attack. It's like attack or bust, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you haven't got time to mess around. Yeah, this is the point of the race where it's basically. Oh, big spin! Oh, that was Denman. Denman on debut. We'll just take a quick look at his replay and see what happened. Jump on board with him. So I think he probably catches a bit too much curb. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, a little bit too much curb, but that is a shame. So he loses a few positions there. So
new trousers for Denman.
Indeed, trying to keep an eye on all these battles here. Unfortunately, it isn't anyone who has.
This could be the run. This could be it.
It could be. It isn't.
It's going to have to be round the outside.
None of these battles are anybody who's got an online stream, so it's. I can't take a look at it. Oh, he's a little bit too late on the brakes there. Gets it wide. He needs to be careful, but he's just managed. Do you know what? I've just noticed as well that Rich in the other Honda has dropped behind these two. Do you reckon that was team orders, because he would have been pulling Damo along with a bit of a slipstream? Do you reckon he's told him, look, you're being lapped, just let us both pass, because that'll put Damo at a disadvantage without having the slipstream? So
yeah, potentially. And I mean, that's probably the better thing to do as well in terms of fair play. Like, we're not going to see Rich hold up Damo, which I think in the grand scheme of things is a lot better, isn't it?
Yeah, we were just watching the replay there of DeHaan getting past Tickner. They tapped twice through the chicane, so I'll be interested to see if the stewards look at that, because they did tap twice. I'm not saying it was malicious or anything, but there was contact, so I'll be interested to see. So Foster on the final lap will just jump on board with his cameras. He's just made his way through the chicane at the top of the hill and down the other side. Of course, his stream there probably 4 or 5 seconds behind what we're seeing live, just because of the nature of DAS internet and how it works. So we are watching Davis versus Humphrey still. Wellborn and Evans ahead is still a battle as well, but no change for position at the moment. Oh, and there's a mistake again from Dumfries.
It's the same thing.
It is the same thing. He's made exactly the same mistake once again after being under pressure for so many laps. He'll be so frustrated with himself. I'm just going to pop to this battle now as we see Wellborn right down the end of the straight, but Evans with the inside line. He's going to make him work really hard for it. Wellborn on the inside now. Evans will be back on the inside for this. This side by side right through here. Wow! Absolutely fantastic. Oh, there's contact! Oh! Wellborn has come across the front of him and he's made contact. Absolute disaster. Evans carries on. Oh my God! We'll just have a quick look at the replay and see if we can pick that one apart. Let's just pop on the helicam. So here they are, side by side through the chicane.
I've just seen it on the YouTube, Mike. Wellborn comes off the curb back onto the track, but Evans is still there. You can't quite see it on the replay, but that's what happens.
Yeah, and Adam Foster has crossed the line. He takes victory. Adam Foster is your winner today, and it is a dominant win. Absolutely correct there. Kingston coming home in second. Wes Bierkos is going to come home in third place. Luke Barnard, our driver of the race, on his endurance debut in fourth position in the Ferrari. Absolutely stellar drive from him. Holding off Lloyd Reed, who's going to bring home in fifth. A decent finishing position in the end for Lloyd after a bit of a difficult race at times. in a tough car. Josh Evans, we just saw have that accident there with Wellborn there, 6th and 7th. Respectively at the moment. I'm sure the stewards will have a look at it. Ash Humphreys has got past Michael Mooney. I'm not sure if we can see what happened there. If Mooney's had an issue or not. Oh, and Humphreys has got Wellborn as well, according to this. Sorry, we're currently watching the replay, but Humphreys has now got past Wellborn as well. Wellborn must have a bit of damage from that accident, so Humphreys now up in 7th. But of course, these guys have still got an extra lap to do. Humphreys now crosses the line then, so Ash Humphreys ends up in 7th position. Absolutely fantastic. Let's see if we can see what happens. So yeah, this is Humphreys versus Wellborn. Wellborn clearly carrying some damage, but Humphreys goes to show you don't give up until the end of the race, and he makes a move right into the last corner. Absolutely fantastic. And gains himself a position. 7th, 8th in the end for Wellborn. I'm sure he won't be happy, doubly happy about that contact, although I still think he was to blame for it, but I am not a steward. Davis then in the end in 10th. Humphreys, other Humphreys in 11th in the end, but still a good drive. Dehaan, Tickner, and Denman. Balseeley in 15th, Simpson 16th, Tonks 17th, Heaton 18th, Darrell Weavers 19th, Graham Morris in the end in 20th. I'm sure he'll be really, really disappointed with that after having so much pace, but that Ferrari just not happy through Eau Rouge. Yeah, that's about it, because some drivers are leaving and things, and yeah, basically it's all over the place, yeah. Yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff. So I'm just going to switch to my multi-screen now. I'm going to get myself out of ACC. I'm going to close that down. I'm going to close down these 40,000 streams that I've got running, because I don't need those anymore. And I'm going to get Discord up so we can speak to some drivers, because that would be great to be able to do. So let's have a look. Just bear with us a minute, folks, while I get this all set up. There we go. We're absolutely laughing. Stop sharing my screen, and we are away. So yeah, that was bonkers, absolutely bonkers. That end to that race, it just sort of died off, didn't it, Aaron? Just in that middle bit, but then all of a sudden it all came to life in that last sort of 5-6 laps.
Yeah, stereotypical endurance, really. A massive chess game that resulted in a checkmate within the last 5 minutes, which is what we like to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And delighted to be joined by a few drivers. Some have had pretty good evenings, and some have had some not so good evenings, but that is the beauty of racing. And nevertheless, it's nice to see them with us. So, Aaron, I'll leave it to you to ask the first question, mate.
Awesome. I'm going to go straight to Alan, because it's the one that's most recently in my mind. A little bit of shock there on Alan's face. Well done, mate. The living definition of don't give up until the last lap. I mean, it wasn't quite the last lap, but you managed to get past that Audi, and yeah, nice result for someone who I think was probably not quite as quick as Rich in qualifying, but still, you've come home and smashed it like you did in Bathurst.
Yeah, a bit different Bathurst, different slight approach.
Yeah.
Qualifying, I think if you told me I'd done a 19.6 in qualifying a couple of days ago and I would have started 17th, I would have been disappointed. It felt good pace for me, even on 2 seconds off. Really good start. I think I was up to about 12th or 11th. And then somewhere in the first couple of laps, it was a yellow flag going into the corner of no name. Someone was spinning across the infield. So backed off, and all of a sudden there's a car diving up my inside on the corner you don't normally overtake, especially not on a yellow. So that tagged me and spammed me, which was a bit frustrating. But then just head down, pushed on from there. Not the fastest guy on track, but just consistent. Good pit stop. One's slight boo-boo. I think I hit Tickner up the arse going into turn 1. I think it all checked and concertinaed up a bit more. I thought it was going to. Very, very slight touch. It was enough to put him round, so that one was on me. Just before my pit stop, I screwed up. I went over the line with something like 3.4 litres, and it said I needed 3.6 litres to do a lap. So Damo got past me before we pitted because I had to coast just to get back to the pits, and then it was just a epic race. I thought I'd blown it after having a run out of Beer Rouge, but then managed to do it on the last lap. So it's probably one of my strongest races. It's nice to be on the attack instead of doing my default defend. So yeah, bit of a story there, but no, I'm pumped. That was a really, really good race. I really enjoyed it, and it looks like Adam with dominance of winner, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of confidence, it bodes. I know I feel a lot better coming off the back of an attack, like an attacking drive, than a defensive drive. And I find that it tends to give me a little bit of momentum, even if it's in a week's time on a different track. You know in your head that mentally you can mix it and do both instead of just be one guy.
Yeah, and it was a hell of a battle. Damo
yeah.
was defending brilliantly. We were pushing each other really hard. It makes it all the more satisfying when it's like that. So it was an absolutely epic race. So thanks, Dana.
Class. Cool. Well, that's all from me. Senor Bullen, you can step back in.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go to Adam next, actually. Yeah, I mean, dominance, the only word for that. I mean, absolutely superb drive. Just from start to finish, you look really comfortable. Back to season 1, season 2 levels of comfort. Obviously, you haven't had the best start of the season for various things, but do you feel like that's really kick-start your season now? It starts from here.
Yeah, really happy with today. I did have a few scary moments going up Eau Rouge. I had to straight line it like 2 or 3 times, but lift massively just so I didn't get that track warning. Qualifying was awesome as always. In this track, it's just this track, this car, my style of driving really, really all clicked together today. So yeah, really happy with everything that's gone on, especially with the last, like you said, the last 2 races. Not great results, but yeah, this should bump me back up.
Yeah, I mean, drop scores will kick in obviously at some point in the season, which will help you. But yeah, you needed that strong win, didn't you, just to sort of kickstart things and get the confidence flowing again.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, looking forward to Zandvoort. I think the car's going to be lively there, but fast. So yeah, hopefully it's many more to come, many more wins.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's what we hope for, because we want to see a nice challenge for the championship as we have in the first couple of seasons. That's for damn sure. But well done, mate. Absolutely flawless. I think it's pretty much a clean sweep on it. Pole, fastest lap, and the win today. So the coveted triple crown, if you like. And over to you, Aaron, for question number 3.
Cool. I suppose I'll go on to the flip side and I'll go to Damo. The opposite end of the Alan Damo battle. Damo just not quite the night. Sometimes things don't go your way in that sense. Almost a carbon copy mistake, wasn't it? Just going a little bit too deep into the bus stop. We thought the first mistake might have been because Rich was in front and it might have just distracted you a little bit, but were you struggling to just get the car slowed down? Was it a little bit of pressure, or was it a mix of all 3?
Well, difficult to say. So the front end was starting to go a little bit, but the reality of it is the corner before, the fast left.
Yeah.
I tried to turn in a bit too, because I was trying to compensate, and I tried to turn in a bit too quick, and then had to ease off a bit. Otherwise, I would have had a track warning. So obviously, like half a second was made up then into that. And then on top of that, because I was thinking, I'm not carrying as much speed because I had to lift, so I can brake a little bit later. Wrong. So I broke too late because I was, thinking, if I can just hold the inside line, and because I defended him a few times into there, because he was quicker through there, he was better under brakes. I had him in the kind of sort of the second section, so corners kind of 3 to 6. I was quicker through there, but he was quicker on the other bit. So it was a really good battle, and I really enjoyed that. Obviously, a bit bittersweet that it was a mistake that cost me that place in the end. So I was a bit frustrated. And the tap at the beginning, obviously I haven't seen it yet, but I felt like it was so good. Everyone was going so well. I didn't see any real accidents and stuff. And then the slightest of touch, I think cold tyres and just stuck his nose up the inside a bit, and I pirouetting off in the last place or whatever. So Yeah, bittersweet. I really enjoyed the battle though with Alan. It was really good, close, respectful. Different lines and that was really enjoyable.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you're in a really good battle like that, and even when you come off as the loser, you still feel like you've enjoyed yourself, and it's a weird feeling, isn't it? Because you walk away thinking, "Wow, that was epic," even though it didn't actually benefit yourself.
Frustrated, I suppose. It was just like, it was nip and tuck, and it was there or thereabouts, and he'd have a good few laps. I'd have, little mistakes. Neither of us made any big mistakes. It was a little one, a little bit late on the brake, or, a little bit wide into a corner, and then have a go. And yeah, I'm just really frustrated with myself, really, to hold it together for 78 minutes. Make that little mistake at the end. But yeah, I enjoyed it overall. I'm sure once I've got over my disappointment, I look back on that. That's a good race and a great battle with Alan.
Yeah, and a good comeback as well after the first lap. So I think you should be proud of that.
Thank you.
Right, back to you, Mike.
Yeah, cheers. I'm going to go to Luke, Mr. Luke Barnard. His first driver interview since he's joined Farm Drive Sim Racing. Welcome, Luke. Yeah, you've had a bit of a baptism of fire, really, haven't you? You've had a wet Watkins Glen and then an endurance race around Spa. So it's been a bit of chuck in the deep end, but you seem to be really enjoying it and thriving today. And you got our driver of the race for this race. So well done. Great fourth place finish. How are you finding it?
Oh, thank you. Difficult. Yeah, really struggling with the car to get any pace. But no, it was enjoyable. Also, had a really good start, which helped. But yeah, it was fun.
Is it like intricacies like in the difference of the setup between like the console and PC and the detail, or is it just that the car with the latest update is just not great, or just curious as to your struggles if you like.
Well, it's the braking. It's the braking and the rotating the car.
Right.
I'm really struggling to get the little quirk you need just to get the rotation around. But I can do it now and again, but just not consistently at the moment.
Yeah,
but,
and it's seat time in it. That's what it comes down to. Is having that time just to do it lap and lap after lap after lap after lap. Any particular aims for this season, or is it literally just bedding yourself into PC, getting used to these little intricacies like the break-in, and then pushing on from there?
No, I'd like to win. I'm, I haven't changed much, Mike. I'm here to try and win. So as quick as I can get the speed, the better, really.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll come. Like I say, it just takes work and effort. But I know for a fact you've got it in you. So no, well done today. Like I say, you kept it clean, kept it simple, and to come on fourth in your first endurance, I thought was great. So well done.
Yes, thank you very much.
No trouble. Aaron, over to you, mate.
Cool. I will go to. I'll go to Lloyd. Good evening, Lloyd. After saying you were struggling on Tuesday night, I feel like you should be quite happy with that driving the Merc. I mean, we didn't quite get loads of footage of you, but we saw that move from Luke around the outside. That was
amazing that one. Unbelievable how he outbraked me that much.
It was insane, but it felt like a really good damage limitation drive after what we were talking about on Tuesday. And in terms of it not being a Mercedes track, obviously Alex somehow smashed it into P2, but you were the next best Merc, and certainly a really good drive, well measured. It just seemed like you just did everything you had to do, and just get out of Spa and onto the next one. I think hopefully it was as straightforward a race as I'm making out. I guess what I'm asking is, did you struggle as much as you did Tuesday, or did you find a little bit more of a better balance tonight?
I think I just put a lot of practice in all fairness. Found some consistency. There's a lot of frustration. On Tuesday, I mean, I had the PC crashing and stuff all over the place, which wasn't helping.
Yeah,
but
I know.
I kind of I had the pace in me, and it was just certain corners, understeering. But a massive shout out to Scott. He was on with me the other night. Just watched what I was doing. See that with the Merc, it understeers quite a bit. But what he noticed, I was just turning the wheel too much to the point it's making the car understeer because there's no grip left.
Yeah.
And I think that it's really what saved me today. So yeah, I'm over the moon with the fifth for a track that I was really struggling at. But I think my biggest achievement is only getting one track warning. It's the first race, I think. So yeah, to go 80 minutes, and I think that was reflected in my track lap times. Really, I was just letting off at certain points. You know, the couple of times that I did go out of track limits, I was just letting off. I just wasn't taking the risk. So yeah, I saw a couple of DTs come up, so I guess a few people were pushing it a bit harder. But yeah, I mean, Luke, I was sort of keeping up with him. Occasionally, I was doing a couple of like tenths faster and stuff, but there was no point in pushing it that much to try and even keep up with him. So yeah, if he says that that's him struggling and going slow, then wow. So yeah, I'm literally over the moon. Really happy with that. I do think I've had a bit of luck in the first race, and then maybe Watkins was quite a trump card for the Mercedes. But here, yeah, maybe it was kind of the flip side of that. So really happy. The only thing I was just disappointed on the flip side is my teammate Scott got hit on the first real corners, and couldn't believe it. I thought I was going to have a good battle with Scott because he put loads of effort in as well, and it just goes to show how quick and how, you know, the tiniest of things can ruin someone's race compared to someone who potentially is a little bit slower doing well. So yeah, it's a shame about that. I lost the team points, but hopefully had a good race. But yeah, I'm thoroughly happy just to come home and to keep it cool.
I think it just shows how important keeping your nose clean and staying out of incidents, even if it means you're a little bit more reserved and not necessarily trying to go for personal best after personal best after personal best.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't pushing too much. I mean, when I saw Mooney go for the track, the DT, it was just kind of like, you know, that could have been me. So I just need to keep calm. And then just towards the end, where the tyres probably just letting off a little bit, I was slowing down ever so slightly. You know, not pushing it. I thought it only takes one lap to get 3 track limits. So yeah, I just wanted to bring it home. And I must admit, seeing Josh behind me, he was catching me at points. I was getting a little bit nervous, but I think after the pit stop, I managed to get a few seconds jump on him. So yeah, he did well behind. But yeah, shout out to everyone who did that race. That was an epic one.
No, fair play. And you hit the nail on the head, really, just with keeping it consistent and driving within the car's limits. I know I was a massive culprit of doing that in touring cars in the first season. I was just trying to overdrive it and making mistakes and dialing it back a bit. I ended up actually being quicker dialing it back. So yeah.
Yeah, I must admit, braking earlier did seem to get me a few temps on quite a few corners. But when you got people like Luke sort of just coming around you, like, you know, you've just got 3 wheels or something, it's like, well, that was as late as I could possibly brake, and he still went past me. So it just goes to show, you know, some people are just naturally really talented at it, and people like me just have to really work at it.
Oh God. Oh, you and me both. But no, well done, mate. And I think P5 was a really good result with all factors
definitely
considered.
Over
to you, Mike.
Yeah, cheers. I'll go to Josh. So Josh, I thought drove well today, picking your way through the field. Not the best quality, but you kept it clean throughout the race. You made loads of positions up and seemed to be doing really well. But I've got to ask you about that incident on the penultimate lap with Wellborn. Just for your take on it, really. I mean, you know, we called it live. Obviously, we don't always get these things right. Yeah, just interested for your view on what happened there.
He was catching me for a very, very long time, and I knew it was going to come down to a little fight in the last couple of laps. But I was confident that I could stay ahead coming into the chicane, which I didn't. And then coming out of the chicane, I think we were side by side, coming around that right-hander. I do think he come up onto the green area and then come back down onto the track into the side of me, but I don't get a very good view considering that I've only got the bonnet of my car there. I don't think that I moved in the moment, but I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly looked on stream like he sort of got thrown off that curb and into you, as opposed to you, taking him out. So it
Yeah.
certainly looked that way. But yeah, I was just curious as to your thoughts. But it's a shame, really, that happened, because it was a brilliant battle through those couple of laps with him coming up to the back of you and then battling through the chicane, as you said, side by side. It was epic, but just a shame. But overall, you happy with 6? I think it was in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, 6th it was. Yeah. Yeah, I am happy with 6th, considering that qualifying went so bad. The 20 kilos of ballast, I'm not so fond of that. But no, I started the race. I got a bit of damage at the start, and that kind of seemed to help me out a bit. It kind of gave me a bit more straight line speed, so I actually ended up dropping my times into the 18s at one point with a full tank of fuel, which I didn't manage to do in practice.
Right.
Yeah, bit of a rubbish start straight off the line too. I don't know who was in front of me, but I don't know if you know, but it's 70 kilometers an hour at the start, and they were doing 66, 67, and I couldn't get going because I would have driven straight into the back of them.
Yeah.
Not much else happened really. I overfueled in the second bit because I just wanted to be confident that I'd make it to the end after Bathurst. Yeah, that was it really.
Yeah. I say it looked pretty sort of clean and straightforward, but those are the ones where you pick up the most positions, really, aren't they? Where other people are dropping off, and you fight your way through. So
yeah, I was focusing on people fighting at the start of the race so I could catch up.
Yeah.
I was hoping Lloyd would end up fighting with the Ferrari in front of him, Luke, but it didn't happen. I was a bit. I was just stuck where I was.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was it for me, really.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's always going to be a bit of a come down after having a win the week before, isn't it? But still, solid, 6th place against a very strong field in difficult conditions. As I thought, good drive for you. So well done, mate. And,
yeah, thank you very much.
No worries. Back over to you,
Aaron. I think I'll go to Rich. Good evening, Rich. I think you were. I feel like you were probably in high hopes after qualifying, and then obviously things didn't quite pan out so well. I think you had an early stop, but I'm not too sure why you had the early stop. I don't think. If Mike did mention, I do apologise because it's gone straight over the top of my head. But I was just going to ask what happened, mate. It just didn't seem to quite click like it did in quali.
I made one mistake going up Eau Rouge and put it in the wall.
Oh, man.
And it just rips my steering column out. I had to exit the pits at 3.5 minutes down, and that was it. So yeah, frustrating. Pace-wise, I was having a real good ding-dong with Lloyd. I think DeHaan was up there with us as well. I think I was in P7 when it happened. Keeping pace with those guys, I think 7th, 6th was definitely on. And yeah, made one mistake the whole night, and that one mistake put me in the wall and screwed the car up. And then I was laps down, so just spent the rest of the time sort of unlapping myself and just keeping pace with the guys that I was with. But yeah, frustrating, but silver lining being the pace was definitely there. There was definitely a top 10 in it. It was just one mistake and it ended the whole thing.
Yeah, I know the feeling, but it definitely seems like the Honda is probably the stronger car to be in. I don't think it's performed poorly at any track. There's just been the odd car where it's been slightly better, like the Mercedes at the Glen. But here tonight, it seemed to be the best car. It's just a shame you couldn't quite extract that package.
Yeah, definitely. It's without doubt the Honda's the strongest car here. It's a shame me and Scott both had pretty shocking races because of incidents. But the Honda here is awesome. I mean, the thing just absolutely flies. Just a shame that it happened. I can't remember what lap it was on now, but it was sort of midway in the first stint. So I took an early pit and loaded with fuel, hoping that'd be it. And just couldn't make sort of much headway after that.
I could feel the steam pouring out of Mike's ears like a cartoon character in the fact that he is not driving a Honda on Tuesdays.
He would love it round here.
I'm so sorry, Mike.
Yeah. let's not have that conversation.
Well, there's always next week, Rich, and you know, I think you know yourself what you're capable of doing, and you proved it in qualifying. So it's only a matter of time before you get a really solid result, and you know we could have a repeat of Brands where you're locking out pole or finishing in the top 4 easily. So I don't think you've got anything to worry about, and just let the performances come to you, mate.
Yeah, I mean that'd be nice, and like I say, the pace is there. It's been a very unlucky start to the season, and it's I'm not in a good place at the moment, but it will come. I'm sure it will come.
Definitely, mate. Definitely. Go on then, Mike. Depressed Mike Bullen over the Honda.
Oh, I'm not that depressed. It's fine. The Porsche is actually lovely to drive. It's just slow as hell. So which is pretty much combined with a slow ass driver. So yeah, between the two of us, we're not a good combination. Anyway, back to you lot. Thomas Denman, new to the league. Welcome. I hope you enjoyed yourself today. You looked like you had some really good moments, some really good bits of pace, but just unravelled a little bit at times. Yeah, just take us through the race from your point of view.
Yeah, well, basically, had an okay start. Made up a few positions just through people crashing. Wasn't too confident with the car, but I just ran with it. But it seems like I tried to defend from, I think it was a Merc and an Audi. I don't know who they were. And I pretty much cut my tyres. So for the rest of that stint, and well, pretty much for all the race, my car was basically hanging on for dear life. Had some big moments coming out of Eau Rouge, and a bit of a miserable stint, if I'm honest. So I got to the end of that stint after a big spin. Then I overfueled the car, so I was about 20 kilos heavier than I should be. So I put it on map 1 and just sort of try to do as much as I can. I was fighting, I think it might have been for P10. I was a few seconds off and I kept making mistakes, and it was quite frustrating. And then I just spun it into a wall, and that was it. So it was completely my own fault, and just wish I didn't do that, because it cost me 2 or 3 positions.
Yeah, I mean, a tricky one to start with the league. There's a lot of quick guys in this league in there, and starting at sort of a desk race with cold track, and a bit of a tricky one to get started with. But have you done a lot of sim racing previously, or is it all new to you? Or?
Well, me and Josh have done quite a lot of racing together in the past, and some tracks I'm a bit up the road from him. Some tracks are exactly the same, and Spa is pretty much his specialty track for us when we're racing.
Right.
So I've never been that particularly quick at Spa, but yeah, I've done a fair bit. But yeah, I've never gone with ACC as much as I get at AC, but I do enjoy racing. That's what I really do enjoy.
Yeah.
So I want to do more this series. It seems like a group of good guys, and can't wait for next week.
I can certainly vouch for that. But yeah, I'm sure it'll pick up next week. And yeah, best luck to you. And yeah, sorry it went a bit wrong at times.
yeah, I haven't said that, but yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries, no trouble at all. So what we got left, Daz?
We've got Dan Stevens in the very, very, very lovely West McLaren. Excellent choice of livery, if I do say so. Well, Dan, I feel like everyone I've come to is because we caught incidents on stream. We saw that daft little spin at La Source. Just seems to be... I'm not quite sure what happened, actually. I think it was a bit of a... I thought it was an accidental contact, like you might have caught yourself out on braking, but we couldn't tell if it was like an attempted overtake or an accident, so it's stuck with me all stream, so I'm just wondering what actually happened. If Dan is there.
I am here, yeah.
I was panicking there.
Matt and Paul come past. Matt and Darryl come past me because I kept running wide into the bus stop. Just kept out braking myself. So they got past me and tried to brake, and I just out braked myself and caught Darryl, and that made me spin. That wasn't the only one. I lost it going up Eau Rouge quite badly. A minute and a half of damage. And that
Ouch.
pretty much ended the race.
Yeah, that's not fun.
No.
That is not fun at all. But that kind of explains what I thought happened at turn 1 then. It wasn't a blatant lunge, it was just a slight mistake.
Yeah, it was my mistake, and obviously left no time for Darryl to go anywhere but to hit each other, and it spun me. So
It's not been an easy track, Spa, even though it's a track that I'd say 75-80% of people are very familiar with. It just, especially in these GT cars, it seems like a completely different animal to try and even master. I mean, we saw Morris spin out multiple times at the top of Eau Rouge, and he had that problem on Tuesday. So it seems that the problems that people have are quite stereotypical, and they're almost repeated throughout the field. So I don't know, I feel like you shouldn't be too disheartened with any mistakes. I know I struggled, and I raced Spa for over 10-12 years on games, so yeah, I suppose it's just one of those things, one of those nights, and you go again, don't you, and try and smash it next week.
you always go again. It's a lovely invisible bump going up there that the GT cars love to lose the back end on.
Yeah, there is.
Assuming that's what everyone else hit, but yeah.
It's like midway through the corner, as soon as you start turning right, it's so scary.
Yeah, and that just let the back end round, and as soon as I saw it going, I was like, oh, I'm in the wall, I couldn't do anything.
Yeah, you can't even start to save it. Once it's gone, it's gone. Oh well, I mean, look, a tricky endurance out the way, a really long one in Spa, one where probably the McLaren wasn't the strongest of cars. Certainly the Honda, Ferraris and BMs seem to be really good. So I suppose looking forward, have you got any predictions for next week? Any targets, anywhere you fancy seeing yourself finish?
Hopefully a little bit higher up, but yeah, it's all fun.
Yeah.
Just wherever I can get. It's quite hard to overtake there. So we'll see what happens. If I can get quality goods, it'll be alright. So hopefully mid-pack again.
Cool. Well, hopefully, just keep the thing on the tarmac, and we'll see you in the interviews next week, and this time you'll be telling me, I told you I'd get mid-pack.
Hopefully it'll be better.
Nice one, mate. Oh, well, thanks very much anyway for speaking to us all, gentlemen, and I'll let Mike sign off as he usually does.
Hey, we haven't spoken to Matty Heaton yet.
Oh, God! I'm so sorry, Matty! Oh, my God!
He's forgot all about you, Matt.
The birthday boy of the week, and I forgot all about it. Tragic, right?
Well,
B45, that's me. See you later, boys. It was nice working with you.
I mean, to be fair, you said you weren't looking forward to tonight, Matt. And I hate to say, it pretty much went the way you thought it would, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, from other incidents that have gone on, I felt like I could maybe have actually been a little bit higher up, but with some contact that happened, which I need to look back at the replay on, because at the time I was raging. And then when I calmed down, I don't actually know what.
Yeah.
It probably just a racing incident in the grand scheme of things, but I got contact in both stints. To be fair, the contact in the first stint, even though it was quite heavy contact, didn't affect the car. It was about 13 seconds of damage. It wasn't an issue. Carried on. Didn't want to pit that early. Second stint, coming up behind Patka, the new lad, and he had quite heavy damage, but I didn't expect him to be quite as slow as he was. Coming around that flat left, just towards the end of the track. Didn't expect him to be as slow as he was, so I had to tap the brakes, which just sent my back end around, sliding into the back of him, which nudged him into the wall and give me about 16 seconds damage, and then I just had understeer for the rest of the race. But I was willing to lose a second or two a lap rather than spend a minute and a half, 2 minutes trying to go through the pit lane and get repaired. So
yeah, well, that's the one thing about Spa. It's the one place you don't want damage or drive-throughs, isn't it? Because it's 45 minutes of your time basically just to get through the pit lane. But look,
that's it.
The beauty of this is there's another one next week. Reverse grid race 2 going to be hugely important next week, and a difficult place to overtake. Could have the fast guys at the back finding it difficult. Could be a real opportunity for some of the mid-pack to pick up a surprise, podium or something, or particularly a high top 10.
Yeah, massively. I mean, last week I managed to get a 5th in the second race, and that's sort of a fall as well, going from managing to get a 5th in the second race to I don't know where I finished, 18th I think it was. And then, but yeah, I'm looking forward to next week. To be fair, it's the track that I first ever raced in for the league, the last race of season 2, which went horribly for me, being a complete novice. But I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully it'll be a better result.
Yeah, I'm sure it will, mate. I'm sure it will. And we like sprints, and I think Zandvoort will lend itself quite well to that. So we should have plenty of entertainment. Well, I think that is it. I think we've spoken to everyone. Please tell me if I haven't. I think we have. And it's been another fantastic night of racing. I hope you've all enjoyed it. I certainly have. And I look forward to seeing you all next week as we pop over the border to Holland, to Zandvoort.